Hey everybody, this is Mitch. I'm the director of People of Kagoshima.
And I'm Alex, the producer of People of Kagoshima.
What is People of Kagoshima, Alex?
People of Kagoshima is a video series that introduces the daily lives of the regular people who live in Kagoshima City, which is a kind of medium-sized city in the south of Kyushu in southern Japan.
And this project, People of Kagoshima, was actually your idea. You pitched this to the prefecture.
That's right, yeah. I mean, it started out as an Instagram account, so we basically just had pictures of people from Kagoshima outside their businesses with a short piece of text about what they do. And we thought that, a video series might be a bit more engaging. People might be more interested in it. So we changed it over to a YouTube format, and, it's gone from there.
So on this episode, we're looking back on season 1, and I thought it would be a good idea for myself and Alex to just do some like DVD type commentary on the episodes that we did, because although they are deep dives, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we want to maybe talk about. And so
definitely, yeah.
Let's get started. So the first episode we did was Coffee Soldier, and this was your choice, Alex. Why did you choose this place?
So I did Coffee Soldier because Kagoshima is quite famous for green tea, and a lot of the prefectural kind of promotion is always based around tea stuff only. Yeah. And I thought it'd be quite interesting to do something about coffee instead, because as a traveler myself, I'm always looking for a nice coffee place in a new city or something like that. And they are quite difficult to find often. And Coffee Soldier is a good example of one that's right in the middle of Kagoshima City that also does kind of artisanal coffees as well.
He's a two-time champion for coffee, some national award I think he had. Or was it?
That's right, it's a Japanese Barista Award.
Yeah, he got it twice. And the funny thing is actually one of my kind of, let's call him a little famous YouTuber friends, when he came into town, he messaged me, he's like, I'll meet you at Coffee Soldier. I was like, how did you know about that?
Right.
And he's like, dude, they're all over Instagram.
Yeah, people actually saw this video and came down as well.
Yeah.
So he told me that people have watched People of Kagoshima and gone into his shop too, which is really positive,
I mean, part of the goal behind this series is, I mean, obviously it's regional promotion, but really what it is like, when you come to a smaller, medium-sized town like Kagoshima, you don't necessarily know where to go or what to do. Mm-hmm. And so part of this was just us giving the world information about, these places exist.
Yeah, and getting a bit deeper than the kind of usual tourist traps and things like that, to go to the places where regular people here go, the kind of hipper side of Japan that people might not know about.
Now, you and I both, we've been living in Kagoshima, you for almost 2 decades, me for like a decade and a half. And I frequently go, we are actually drinking Coffee Soldier right now as we speak. And I often go here, but it wasn't until we did this interview with him that I actually knew what the name meant.
Yes.
It was the first time I never really thought about it, but then when he was explaining what the name meant, I was like, oh.
Yeah, no, I didn't know how coffee beans grew either, to be honest with you. So when I saw that photo, I was quite surprised. But yeah, so the coffee bean itself sprouts out, doesn't it, with the kind of little,
it looks like a soldier's helmet,
Yeah, no, it's very cool.
So I actually went here once for a television report where I was doing like I was working there for a day, basically.
Yeah.
And he had me pour in, how they do the really, like the leaf in the bubbles.
Latte art, yeah.
He's like, he trained me on how to do that for hours, and then he just said, "You're impossible, I give up." And then it's just that's what aired on TV.
It is very hard, though. It is hard to do. Actually, to go on about this video at the end, he says his goal at the moment was to kind of make more coffee beans.
Yeah.
And he's actually done that. He's opened up a new shop in Aira, which is just north of Kagoshima City. And he's got like a gigantic roasting machine now. So he's actually making quite a lot of beans compared to before. And now there's like big 500-gram bags of like roast beans.
Nice.
And stuff like that. So yeah, that's always in my cupboard at home.
So this is these little shorts at the end where we kind of show a little bit of the outtakes. This was kind of my idea, and I was like, Alex, we should definitely put in these little unscripted moments where it's like they're like maybe laughing or giggling or something like that, because it really makes them more human.
But people might think this was done in a meeting or something like that. It wasn't. It was like done in the shop.
Yeah.
You're like, let's just add on a little bit at the end. So he didn't really know what to do. He did well though,
Yeah, everybody's like that. None of these people are media trained, and so we just come in with all of our camera equipment and lights and everything, and we're like, go. Yeah. And some of them. Okay, so for this guy here, the Coffee Soldier, Dolphin Industries, he's so chill that we said, all right, interview time. He's like, cool.
Yeah, let's go.
We actually struggled with his subtitles because if we just simply translated directly what he said into like I want to say polished English, it kind of took away from his vibe.
The kind of surfer nuance, right?
So you and I really like painstakingly went through the subtitles to try to get the English vibe right.
He's like some dude came in or something like that. We changed it up a little bit. We actually shot this the same day as the Coffee Soldier one as well.
Yeah, we did. We did one back to back.
Yeah, so Josh, lugging all the camera equipment around as well.
Yeah, we and this one we actually we wanted to showcase the beer as well. So we actually we took some of his beer glasses and we shot some of the beer in studio.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But for the most part, all of these are mostly done on location, day of. We totally meiwaku. How do you say that in English? Like we burden them.
Yeah.
We just show up and like take over their business for like half a day. But it's it's fun for everybody.
I mean, going on about the time it takes to make these, it's like setup is probably 40 minutes or something like that, and then interviews another 40 or so.
Yeah, and then we do B-roll after that. That's another hour, and then some of these places are not in the city, so they take time to get to.
Yeah, and then the edit, obviously, subtitling.
We got to eat these cheeseburgers.
Yeah, so they were good.
So that was awesome. We were like, oh, we get to eat them? He's like, yeah, dude.
I once bit into it with a knife in the top of it and almost cut my foot. I didn't realize you were supposed to take it out, being an idiot. But yeah, take the knife out.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Kagoshima encompasses a lot of islands, and hopefully at one point we can take the series to the islands. But with this interview, we were able to get some of his time living on Tanegashima, which is actually surfer's paradise.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful island.
They have
beaches.
Yeah, they have some of the top doctors in the world at their hospital, supposedly, because all the top surfer doctors fight to get into the hospital there so they can surf.
Okay.
Yeah, so this was shot in studio,
right?
Because his beer shop was really cool, but we really wanted to isolate on the beers here, just get their cool labels.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do that with a white background, so we brought them in studio, and he was really cool about all of it. He's like, yeah, sure, take whatever you need.
Yeah, I mean, getting the stories out of people is kind of tricky a lot of the time as well, because we have a very short window between booking the appointment and actually going to visit these places too. So trying to coax stories out of them does take quite a long time. So at first we weren't so good at it, to be honest. So it did take quite a long time, but I think we've got better as the series has progressed.
One of the most difficult things with these interviews is that Japanese language doesn't require a noun or a subject in all of their sentences. They don't need a subject. So we'll constantly have to tell them, please include the subject when you respond to our questions.
Yeah.
So for example, if we say, where are you from? They'll say like Kagoshima. It's like, no, you need to say, I'm from Kagoshima. We need the whole sentence.
Yeah, and because the interviewer's voice doesn't go into the question as well.
Yeah.
You'd be like, do you like sushi? And they just go, yeah. It's just unusable then. So we have to repeat, quite a few times.
Please say the whole sentence, I like sushi.
Yeah. So this place actually, some people from Tokyo and some foreign people as well came down to the bar and said, we saw you on People of Kagoshima.
Really?
Yeah. So he says still people watch it.
This is one of the really cool bars in Kagoshima if you like craft beers.
Yeah.
My youngest brother used to go here all the time. Every time I go in there, like, hey Mitch, how's your little brother?
Right.
Like he doesn't care about me. He's like, where's your cool little brother?
This is one of the cool things about Kagoshima City Centre because it's quite compact.
Yeah.
People know each other, so you say like, "How you doing?" How your friends doing? It's a nice little community, really.
One of the things about this place that is so cool is like during the pandemic, because he had his bar, he opened the store downstairs.
Oh, the stockyard.
Yeah, so you can try all the beers, have a burger upstairs, and then you're like, I really like this one, go downstairs, buy it, and take it home.
Yeah. And also this can bar is always open in the afternoon too. So
you can go and check it out. You just like hang out.
Yeah. Go and chat to him. Have a go on the game thing, whatever it's called.
The arcade game.
Yeah.
And, he's so chill. Like, he's just one of those guys that, he's just really, really approachable. For your birthday, I actually went there and got you a couple beers.
I know, I saw him the day or two afterwards, and he was like, hey, Mitch came in and bought you some cans, man. So I was like, all right, nice one, dude.
And he was really helpful. So this was shot in studio, this one here. Because we wanted to really show, like, how these beers are really good.
Yeah.
And we wanted to, like, visually, like, convey that. So I was like, give me one of your beer glasses. He's like, okay.
It's kind of hard to get that kind of shot on location, isn't it? Without the lighting and everything.
It's really difficult.
I mean, for me, because obviously you've been making videos a lot longer, it's like you don't realize how much effort goes into those kind of
when we went, some of these locations that we go to, we have like a truckload of stuff, and you're just like, what did you bring? Yeah. You're like, just chill, just wait. Now, so which one is this? This was my choice. Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
this guy, I met him via another project, and I just needed to showcase him.
I'd heard of him before, because when you said his name, I was like, that guy. Because he is fairly well known, actually.
He, like, his interview, I think you were the one that interviewed him. There's so much more about the fundoshi that he talked about in the end here.
I know.
That we really wanted to include in the video, but like, we have to keep everything kind of, Disney level.
Above board.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of this footage was shot like
for a different
somewhere else, right?
This footage was shot for a different project that included him,
right?
And for this area, for this Hioki area. And so we were really lucky that we had that B-roll that we shot for the local government there.
Yeah.
And so I asked them, I was like, "Can we use this for People of Kagoshima?" And they're like, "Sure, dude, whatever."
Yeah.
They were so chill about it. So yeah, we had all this great B-roll for him.
There were just some photos of him rocking out with his band there as well, and a lot of these kind of photos we have to get, after the interview is done.
Yeah.
So we ask people to put together a collection of photos or whatever and send it to us. That often takes time because people don't have their memories easily sorted a lot of the time.
And because the quality of these videos, they're all done in 4K. They're shot in 6K and then edited down to 4K. But sometimes they'll send us like a thumbnail from Facebook or something.
Right.
I'm like, I can't use this guy. Please send me the original. These came from this history here. I actually had to lean hard on you. I was like, explain this to me.
Right.
I was like, I really.
That's my tempaku from home.
Yeah, these were actually provided by Shimazu, I think, right?
That's right, Shimazu Limited. So they got them commissioned by the artist who did Nobunaga no Yabo, the video game, Nobunaga's Ambition.
Yeah.
It's quite a popular game on PlayStation.
So, yeah, we were really lucky with the B-roll for this one because he talks about a lot of things and I was like, oh God, how do we, because if we don't have B-roll, we can't really include it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, how do we do this? And luckily we kind of put it together. Now, we had one production problem with this, and it was my fault. And I included a bunch of his YouTube videos that he had. You won't see it in this video either, but we uploaded it, and I hadn't bothered to read what was in the video.
Right.
And we uploaded it, and it says some pretty, let's just call it hardcore rock stuff.
Yeah, it says some quite bad words on the screen in Japanese.
Yeah, and because these projects, we don't have a lot of time to make them.
Yeah.
We have to do, I think this year we're doing like 16 or something like that. And we have a very tight schedule to get them done. And so although we do have pretty good quality control sometimes
mistakes do slip through. So yeah.
But it was kind of an interesting story that him and his friends got to tell at work.
Yeah, and we did manage to blur it.
Yeah, thanks to the YouTube tools afterwards. So.
Yeah. So that was a bit of a panic moment, but it got sorted out, I think.
So yeah, they have all these great PR photos for Hioki City. So even this we shot this years before we did this video. This is actually done on a green screen.
Right.
So yeah, we shot all this for a different project, and we just kind of threaded it all together, which was nice.
Right. Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get more of his band stuff. I mean, he didn't really have much video, did he?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's mostly audio and live performances, and so when we asked him for video, he's like, oh, we didn't really do a lot of video for it. So I was like...
Lucky to get the guitar construction shots as well.
And his plans for it and everything.
Yeah.
So this what's it called? Hioki Gungicho, I think it's called. It's the samurai experience in Hioki. If you guys ever get a chance to go check it out, it's really, really cool.
So you can go and wear armor?
Yeah, you can wear the armor and walk around a little traditional Japanese town and take pictures with your friends.
Yeah.
It's really dope, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it as well.
Yeah, and when we actually helped them design the experience, and they were like, we're thinking about having no attendant there whatsoever, just people show up, and we're like, no.
No, people will take those out.
They'll take them home, don't do that.
Yeah. So, no, I think this was a good one. It was a good video. It did quite well as well when we released it.
This is the video we were talking about.
Oh,
we had to blur some stuff. I mean, if you're looking closely enough, you could kind of figure it out. But I mean, it was like, well, whatever.
Yeah, nobody will notice anyway. Surprisingly, the people at the office that he worked at just laughed at it as well.
Well, because they know him, right? He's like, and his way of talking, it was. I remember so many times when I was editing this video, just laughing outright.
This shot was hilarious because he was like, fly the drone closer to me.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to get the most extreme shot.
And like, we just put him in a rice field or whatever this is. We're just like, play the guitar. And he's like, okay. We're like, just like throwing the drone at him.
Josh is like, I'm going to turn off collision detection. Is that okay? And he's like doing a circle sign above his head like, okay.
Yeah, this is...
Yeah. We left something on.
No. Well, this is the pre-blurred version of it. So
Right.
we'll blur it before we upload this video.
Yeah, so, I mean, I wondered what his wife thought about this as well, because he's married with daughters as well, right?
So his wife, apparently, I've asked his coworkers, because I haven't personally met his wife, but everybody says, she's over fighting any of it. It's just plain acceptance at this point.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't fight this, what is this, like this wave of force that he is. You
He's
just
not
can't
going to
fight it.
change.
No.
He probably shouldn't either, right?
No, I hope this man never changes. I really do like him.
So the fundoshi did go on about that for ages, didn't he?
Yeah, and we had way more photos than this one, but they weren't includable.
Yeah.
And then your follow-up question, because sometimes we have scripted questions, but sometimes we go off script, and then sometimes those answers are really deep, and sometimes they're funny.
Yeah.
This question from you.
Yeah. How many people do wear fundoshi? There was an event in Kagoshima years ago where about 20 people wore the same fundoshi that was really, really long.
What?
So they were really, I don't know why they did that. But there's probably some hygiene issues there as well, to be fair.
Yeah, fundoshi actually have a function. They act as a back supporter for the people carrying the portable shrines.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So now this video had a lot of production challenges. We shot this in the middle of actual lockdown.
Yeah.
So all restaurants were closed at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So not only did that get us access, because I don't think that they would have let us in if they weren't already closed.
Yeah.
Because this is such a popular place, and it's really difficult to get a reservation here.
Yeah.
So not only did we get access, but also we didn't have any shots of food.
That's true, yeah.
Because no one was working the kitchen.
So the kitchen's shut, yeah.
So we were like, hi, do you have high resolution photos of your food? She's like, I do. And we're like, thank God.
Yeah, so Sanya is a very high-end kind of restaurant
Yeah.
in Shiramacho, is it?
Yeah.
The Saigo Takamori statue that's in Kagoshima City. It's very close to that.
It might be, maybe.
Terukuni.
Terukuni, maybe.
Maybe Terukuni-cho.
Yeah, but anyway, it's very near the downtown area, near Central Park.
Yeah, so it's like a family restaurant, and she's the third generation owner now. But it's very kind of cool inside. It's quite a dimly lit, kind of really Japanese style, very kind of chic environment. So that made it a little bit tricky to shoot, right, with lighting.
That was tricky, but one of the other than the food, the biggest challenge I think with her was because she's such her job is to talk to people.
Yeah.
And because she's so personable.
Yeah.
That she just really provided us she provided us so much so much talking, good things to put in the video.
Yeah.
I was like, what do I cut?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And so it became like, because it would have been a 50-minute video otherwise.
No, she's good at talking, and she was in England as well. So we actually asked her to do it in English as well.
Yeah.
But she was like, maybe not this time.
Now we're currently under production of season 2 right now. People of Kagoshima. We've released a couple videos as like teasers for the season, but we're really going to ramp up the full season closer to the autumn time. And we're going to do a video almost every week and just like go through the whole season. One of the interviews is in English.
All right, that's good, because it means I don't have to translate.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to translate it into Japanese, because Japanese people do like this channel.
Yeah.
So, like, the target of this channel is for foreign people, but Japanese people do like it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So we have to translate. I'm not going to ruin who it is, but one of our interviews was in English, and I really had to push this person. I was like, please, you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Her English is really good, though.
Her English is almost perfect, and I think that's the thing, is like, she hadn't used it in so long.
Right, I see.
And she was just like, what? I was like, please. But she did a great job. So it's going to be a really good video.
I actually went to Yukiko's place for lunch the other day.
Yeah.
I had a client from Tokyo came down, so I went in there and booked some food. It was really good, actually. Afternoon. I think we had Thai chazuke. I can't remember. So like sea bream.
I never know what to wear to places like this. Like, do you go full suit?
No, I was in like what I would call smart casual.
Smart casual.
So I don't wear suits anymore. So I just tend to go for the...
I gave up on suits completely.
Too hot.
It was like, no more suits for me. I decided I'm never going to wear a suit ever again, unless I'm at like a funeral or a wedding or something. I'll never do it.
No, so it's, you don't have to wear a suit, just the kind of smart looking, not dirty trainers or anything,
Getting into her youth was really interesting, because there was a lot more behind, like, she was such an independent rebel.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, to try to get that to be succinct was difficult, but I think we got it.
So she went to Tokyo and learned about cooking, and then came back and branding and things like that. Came back to Kagoshima, and then she started changing all these things in the restaurant.
And everybody was like, "What are you doing?
Like, who do you think you are?" Yeah. So her and her dad had some really bad arguments, they said.
But it's good that they did that because, the new generation kind of needs to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think now everybody agrees that the restaurant has, absolutely benefited from it.
So, they find the new balance for the next generation.
Yeah.
And kind of go on from there. But she's done lots of brands as well. So there's like at one point she was doing like a takeout type shop as well.
Yeah.
With kind of branded, food and preserved food as well. So I'm pretty sure she's still doing that on the website as well.
One of the great thing about her is like we said before that she can speak English. So if you are a non-Japanese speaker, or maybe you just speak a little bit of Japanese, you don't have to feel intimidated going to this restaurant.
Oh no, not at all.
You could just go hang out and just be like, "Hi, somebody help me," and then she'll just come over and just translate everything for you.
But I will say it's not cheap, to be fair though.
Some of the so the people who choose what we do for People of Kagoshima is basically me and you, and I tend to choose street level stuff.
Right.
You tend to choose sky high level stuff.
Not always. That's not true. I'd say more refined options. But Kagoshima does have a lot of options for both.
But no, what I mean is it's a good thing that the two of us can reach a balance there.
Right, that's true.
Because I'm like, Alex, too highbrow. You're like, no, need to go further.
We will go higher brow. Yeah. Oh, this is a really nice story. The book that her grandfather wrote about the regional food and things like that.
Now, one of the tricks is translating the things that they're saying. Mm-hmm. So in this, translating what the grandfather said into English that makes sense.
Yeah.
Was a challenge, but you did a great job. Alex does all the translations, although sometimes I will suggest changes or tweaks to it, just because you translate it in script form and then I have to apply it to the video.
That's true.
So it has to be timed.
And also, you keep texting me saying, "Is this British English or a mistake?" I keep getting.
There are words that I was like, you guys just spell it differently. And I'm not saying like the inclusion of a U or something. There's just words that are just different.
Yeah, and I didn't know this either. I was like, what? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So I had to switch my word to UK English to put the script through there.
Good.
And then check it. I'm like, and I've learned so many things. And even the way that you guys do quotation marks is different.
Actually, it's changed slightly since this video. I was using the kind of double quotation marks for things people said. But now I've changed it to single quotation. You forget which one it is when you're doing it as well.
Yeah, it's so we've tried to keep it British English because not you're the producer and you're British, but also because I think that it makes it a little bit more refined.
Right.
Americans really like British English.
Well, we do too.
Yeah, right. So I do like it is a little challenging for me being an American to do that, but it does work out.
Yeah. So I mean, where we shot this as well is interesting because it was actually the entrance to the shop as well, wasn't it? But it just happened that the lighting kind of worked there. So it's always difficult to find the right spot, isn't it, when we go?
Because these aren't studios. These aren't like television sets. Mm-hmm. These are real places, and we're like, where should we? And some of these are tiny places.
Yeah.
And we have to fit 4 or 5 people, crew members in there, you in there. We have to put the lights and the cameras, and it's not a vlog.
Yeah.
If this was a vlog, this would be really easy.
Yeah.
Just go in there and like shoot like handheld footage. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
So, and part of the reason why we're not doing that is because we want this. Another goal of this is for posterity. We want this to survive. Mm-hmm. And so there are videos in that you can find on Reddit. It's like 1912 Tokyo.
Right, yeah.
It's been like converted from film. And that's kind of, we want these videos to age 100 years from now and people look back and be like, wow, that existed.
No, it's good to tell these stories and leave them as well for people to see. And I think local people as well look at these and think, oh, actually Kagoshima is pretty interesting, and stuff that you would forget normally in daily life, you might pass by or get used to. You realize that it's actually much more valuable than you thought it might have been.
And then every now and then we have guests who like their own video that they watch it themselves.
Oh yeah, happens quite a lot actually.
They're like, I love my video.
I always worry when I send them the preview because some people, get a little bit weird about seeing themselves on the screen or whatever, or maybe aren't used to it.
Yeah.
But everybody so far has been very, very positive. Oh, she likes SUP as well, or SUP or...
I didn't know that this was called SUP. I learned this day.
I don't know if that's a Japanese thing or if that's actual...
I had to Google it.
Really?
So some of their shots like this right here is like just Adobe stock footage of the places that she's talking about, so we didn't have to like fly out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, but this is all like taken from her. She had great photos of everything.
Yeah, triathlon as well, right? Very sporty. Yeah, sup in kimono. Maybe we should try that next time. Be a good image, wouldn't it?
帽子とか被ってたんですけど、足だけ焼こうと思って上だけこう着てたんですけど、この間あまりにも天気良くて
You can tell that she's really like such a people person.
Yeah.
帽子取ってもう
No, she's super into sports, golf and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get into golf. I don't know why.
No, I'm not a big golf.
So we asked her to speak in English, and then she just said, "Come to Kagoshima," and then we're just like, "Is that all?"
Yeah.
Because she can speak English,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. I think we put her in a corner a little bit, literally and metaphorically, you know. So.
Yeah.
What was the next one? I can't remember.
Oh.
Oh, right.
Oh
dear.
I can't remember. He says.
Not this one.
So I actually said to you, I said, Alex, we got to do one on you, and you're like, no, we can't do that. I was like, no, we need to, because we need to show not only Japanese people live in Kagoshima, but also foreign people live here.
Yeah.
And you said, well, why don't we do one about you? I'm like, maybe some other time. Let's do one about you, because then we can go to Sengayen, because this is also during the kind of shutdown time.
Yeah, it was during lockdown.
Right, so we had full access to Sengayen.
Yeah.
And so we were able to do basically whatever we wanted.
Yeah.
Which you don't get.
No, that's not often that we can do that kind of thing. That's a horrible photo.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
I had so many notes on the first edit of this video.
Right.
One of the notes that you gave me, which made me laugh, you said, what did you say? You said, a lifetime of martial arts practice has been like insulted by this picture. Take it out.
Right, yeah. I know that which picture you're talking about as well.
Because you sent me you of all the people that sent me media, you sent me a Dropbox link or something that had like 100 gigabytes of stuff in it.
Well, I do keep everything.
Well, I do too, right? Because we're in the media, right?
Yeah.
So we do. But you didn't tell me what I could and couldn't use.
Right.
So I just like, it was like a buffet.
All the worst images.
It was like a buffet of like B-roll, and I just like put it all in the video, and you're like, no, this was scary to film. Josh, this was like take 3, because the first time Josh, the camera guy, was like freaked out because you're so loud.
Right.
You really do yell.
Yeah, you've got to get it all out there. This is at Sengayen, a demonstration we were doing with Taishari, which is another school of swordsmanship as well. And the head of the Shimazu family was actually watching that as well.
Yeah.
It was quite a historic, event.
So this is actually a challenging shot to film because the background was so bright.
Yeah.
And we did not bring enough lighting for this, but we made it work.
It almost looks like a studio background, doesn't it?
You know, it's and the thing is there's actually traffic that's going in that little square where the green is,
yeah.
like the little triangle. And I actually edited out this traffic because it was distracting. And it took forever.
You edited it out. Oh, there's a truck.
When you stick your hand in front of that area, I have to put it back to life. Now it's just now it's erased.
Right.
So every now and then you'll see cars, but for the most part I edit out most of the cars.
Right.
So it wouldn't distract you from what you were saying.
I see. Yeah, but the volcano really does look like that.
No, it really does. Yeah. Like this is a room that you can. What is it, like a conference room or something?
So this is a part of the restaurant. So there's like a private dining area,
like a VIP section.
VIP room, yeah.
And we got access to that again, unprecedented access to everything at Sengayen because it was good timing.
So just in case anybody thinks this is my office, it's not. It's not.
But we shot this like it was your office.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You were saying, can you please cross your legs so you look more kind of arrogant and British?
And I also wanted to include shots of your socks because British people always wear funky socks.
Yeah.
But I don't think I included it in the actual video.
Yeah. So we were there was some kind of discussion about whether we should show writing the Kishomon, the document we have to write to join Jigenryu. So I was like, well, maybe I'll do it. And I actually discussed with them, and they said we can show you writing the cover for it, the envelope that it goes in.
But not the interior.
But not the interior. So there's a shot in a bit of me actually writing that.
Every time I've shown this video to any of my local friends, they basically have 2 comments. One, Alex kakui, which is like you're so cool, and then 2, the scene when you're writing your kanji, they always make the comment that you're like an artist. They're like, oh my god, his kanji is so beautiful.
Right, it's all right.
And I'm like, hey, I can write kanji too. But no, like this is, I enjoyed making this video just because it was such a foreigner's take on Kagoshima.
Yeah.
That was just, you knew, because you're media trained and you know what we're looking for in these videos. You just said all the right, you hit all the right points.
So actually, Abroad in Japan also shared this on their
Chris.
Facebook, or I can't remember what it was. Chris shared it, but when he came down to Kagoshima as well, I made him do Jigenryu.
Oh, this is the scene we're talking about.
Oh yeah, with the writing.
So you made him do Jigenryu, but he was not into it because he just cycled in.
It cycled across Japan, and I don't think the first thing he wanted to do was go and beat a stick and scream at the top of his voice. But he was a good sport with it. He actually did it to the end. And like, if you watch him on YouTube, you know, people initially might think he's kind of a bit light-hearted with everything and kind of having fun with it, but he's actually really serious about the topic.
I was very impressed with him when we had dinner together. I thought he was incredibly into his craft.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, like, it's good to know people like that.
Yes.
But anyway, so getting back to this video, this scene here is from your poetry event, which I've actually attended. Not when you were doing it, but I attended it a year after, and it was gorgeous. And I wish I had more footage of it.
Yeah, I've got a few photos, but that's about it. This is from Yabusame. So when we did, the horseback archery.
Yeah.
Sengai. So I was Mato Bugyo, which is like the person who judges whether the arrows hit the target or not.
So I asked this question, and I left it in the video about cultural appropriation because I thought we might get blowback over you doing these things, but in vast majority of Japanese people want you to come here and participate in their culture.
Oh, absolutely.
I'd say 99.99% of the people do. So don't feel if you come here and you do experiences or whatever, you're not culturally appropriating anything. You're actually the Japanese people want to share their rich and like historical culture with you.
But that's on the caveat that you do it properly
and respectfully.
You listen and respect the culture as well.
Which of course you do, because you made a pact with various deities.
Otherwise they'll destroy me. Yeah.
No, but these shots here we would have never been able to do under normal circumstances. The fact that you guys were closed for a few, and this is actually from a different video, but this place we might do a People of Kagoshima on that Yogan Yaki, which translates to magma plate, like barbecue
I guess,
meat.
So I mean, this is a nice shot of Tsurugane Shrine as well.
Gorgeous place,
outside the garden.
Sengayen is gorgeous. If you have never come to Kagoshima, never gone to Sengayen, please visit Sengayen. I love this shot. This is one of my favorite shots that Josh took.
It's a very picturesque place. There's every angle
you can go. You can go there and just forget that you're living in this. This is Kaimon Dake in the south of Kagoshima Prefecture, and you can climb to the top of it.
Yeah,
it's a dormant volcano, and it's just completely flat on the top, like you think it would be.
Yeah,
you can have yourself a coffee up there.
Who's this guy?
That's from People of from Kagoshima Kitchen.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, from a different project that we're working on. He's a farmer, and this is Gourmet Street, where all of the beautiful, wonderful little restaurants are downtown Kagoshima.
Yeah, there's so many little nice places, aren't there, in town?
You really could do 10 days here.
Oh, easy.
You did not want me to take this shot, and I fought you for it, and I think this is one of the best shots that we took in your video. And I was like, look like you're thinking, and you're like, I'm not doing this shot.
Yeah. No, we had some arguments on
but I'm glad that we did it, because it was a nice transition to the ending.
Yeah. Blood doesn't come out as easily. And then, right, I remember this. Yeah. So talking about the blood coming out
for the pact. Yeah. The title being Left Justified and a little off center was absolutely your idea, by the way. People ask me about that. I'm like, it's a stylistic decision that Alex made.
Yeah. How about the intro with the kind of text jumping around?
That was me, and then you and I had a back and forth on that, and we figured it out. But the new one is a lot shorter. Season 2. This place is going back to what I was talking about before. Highbrow. This place, no one gets access to.
Yeah.
And because of your connections here, we got access to film, and it took us 3 days. How many days did we film this?
3 or 4, wasn't it? It was a long time. We stayed as well one night.
Yeah, we stayed over a night, and we literally. I think it's 5 terabytes, like the data for this project.
Crazy. I mean, there's so much to film though, to be fair.
And one of the problems that we had is when we stayed there at night, we were like, do we enjoy or do we take footage?
Yeah.
And we tried to do a good balance, and I think it worked out.
We did both, I think.
Yeah.
Really. But this is Gajoen, so it's actually 2 properties. Gajoen and Tenku no Mori. So Gajoen's like a rustic Japanese village style ryokan, and then Tenku is a very exclusive, high-end, private mountain, basically, with 5 villas on it. So we interspersed shots of both locations because Tajima-san, the guy in the shirt here, the owner, is runs both properties with a very kind of unique vision about how he wants tourism to be.
This was a very challenging edit. He gave us about 55 minutes of content, and it took, I think, 4 of us to agree on the edit for this because he said so much that we could keep in that would have been a 50-minute video.
Yeah.
And so to get that down to his main points and also to explain what these places are and his philosophy, it took a long time.
Right.
I think this is probably one of our most challenging edits, but I think that the story that he's telling in this video, I think is exactly what he wanted to convey.
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot of time to get it out because he has so many examples when he's speaking.
Yeah.
You know, it can be difficult to translate those into English as well.
Well, not only that, but if you don't know his history and him personally, it's just difficult to follow.
Yeah,
because he's such a wealth of knowledge and experience.
Yeah.
And you know, he's you know, just local people see this video and they're like, how did you get access to this interview?
Oh yeah.
Because he doesn't normally do interviews.
No, he doesn't do many interviews at all.
And so not only did we get access to him, but also like to get him to open up and all these things in front of the camera was I thought when we did this video, by the time that we got to this video on the project, I was like, I think this is going to be a good project.
Yeah.
I thought then this is worth working on.
So I mean, for him to tell us all about his past failures and what he's trying to do now as well, for me was so, you know, open and honest. I thought it was really, really you know, great, and it's so good to get somebody who's really a unique thinker to do an interview like this. And actually some consultants in Tokyo saw this video and then invited him to speak at a really big summit, which had about 3,000 attendees because of this video.
Really?
Yeah. So very happy to get that kind of word out there.
This is one of my favorite shots that Josh took. This, and we also did this like time-lapse shot, which was really cool.
So we did the river as well, right? Flew the drone at the river.
Yeah, we did the river. We did a bunch of, and one of the things is like, because there's nearby properties, the way that we had to shoot certain things, like, you know, was challenging, but we made it work. And also the weather on this day was not cooperative.
Yeah. The rain looks nice there in the background, doesn't it?
When it was all edited and done, it was fine. But that when we arrived and it was like pouring down rain, it was like, oh, what do we do?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it does look very attractive in the rain, though, this property.
It was. I'm glad that we stayed there. It was a beautiful place to stay in. I really enjoyed it. The food was delicious. The staff were amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
And the staff also speak English. There's English speakers there as well.
So this is really, really popular with, you know, foreign visitors, and it's part of Relais Chateau as well. So it's a very kind of high-end ryokan. Very famous.
We included a little bit of it, but the Jeep drive in the river.
Yes. Yeah.
That was nuts.
Yeah.
The river that runs through here, or one of these properties, Tenku no Mori, has a stone bottom to it.
Yeah.
So you can drive through it and like explore it. Oh, it was so crazy.
That's cool because it's one of the few rivers in Japan that really has no man-made anything on it.
Yeah.
No concrete, no nothing, and it's literally a granite riverbed that runs down one side of it. And you can actually drive a car down it.
One of the things that this place really reminds me of is, and I know this is a stupid example, but the Shire from Lord of the Rings,
right? Yeah.
Because everything is so natural and wood, and it just like you just feel peaceful there.
It's got a nostalgic kind of vibe to it as well, right?
He says that in the interview that, you know, when you stay in an inn or something like that, it shouldn't be surprising. It should be nostalgic, even if you haven't experienced it yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I want to do dinner by the river. I saw the photos of that. The great big wooden table that's right there by the river with all the wooden chairs and like the lighting and everything. It looked beautiful.
I've done something like that in the afternoon with a small kind of family thing. And you can do fishing as well.
Really?
In the river. And actually the fish are really easy to catch. I didn't expect them.
Really?
Yeah.
Because it's untouched, you know, area.
So the Irori as well, the kind of fireplace is really nice. Oh, this is Tenku no Mori.
With a giant tree on top of the tallest hill. This was, it just looks fake because it's so beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? And then his shirt, I like that shirt a lot. I think it's Paul Smith, actually. I'm pretty sure it's a Paul Smith design.
When I'd never met him before this interview, but when I showed up and I saw him in that shirt, I was just like, this is going to be an interesting interview.
Yeah, he's a funky guy.
Yeah, he is funky. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, super funky. And he's getting on now. He's in his late 70s, but he's still doing new things. So he's building new things at Tenku. He's developing Gajuan as well. They're actually reforming a couple of the rooms there at the moment.
Yeah.
So, the man just does not stop. Insane. And this food was great as well, right? Local ingredients, very kind of rustic style. Nice bit of shochu or nihonshu, a couple of beers.
We had a couple of beers and a couple of drinks. These shots here were challenging just simply because, like, we were talking about collision detection.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many obstacles, and I was just like watching Josh, and Josh was like sweating. I was just like,
well, the tree line was kind of
yeah. It was. This is the river I was talking about. This is just a gorgeous little place. Like, and that's the thing is we had so much B-roll in this that it almost I felt like I just wanted to just roll B-roll the whole time and just never clip back to the interview.
Right.
But we needed to balance it, so.
Yeah, this was in one corner of the restaurant. So there are two restaurants at Gajuan. Well, two areas that you can eat, whatever. And this was kind of in one corner looking out onto the back. So we thought that kind of rustic scene outside looked good with the rain.
This was difficult to shoot as well, and you can see that the drone just kind of like dips a little bit over the water.
Right. Yeah.
Because the drone's like, "What's going on?" We're like, "Just keep going."
Yeah. So it's great for aerial shots around there, isn't it?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't fly the drone in the city, but in places like this, we're like, get it out there, let's do it. I mean, look at how gorgeous this is. And this is all like onsen, natural, like, what is it called? Onsen water, what would you say? Like hot spring water.
Yeah.
And
then we've got the swing on top looking over the Kirishima Mountains.
Yeah, we really wanted to, because when you're here, it envelops you. It's such a large area that we wanted to convey that as best as possible. And we did an okay job because it's video, but you really need to go there and check it out.
So one of the cool things is that his staff are all like local people, he employs local farmers, local craftsmen, things like that to maintain the property as well. So it's, generally sustainable tourism. It's not something that just says it is. So I was speaking to him not long ago, and he was talking about SDGs and things like that. And he was like, I don't know about
Sustainable
SDGs.
Development Goals.
Yeah, he goes, I don't know what they are. Because I've been doing it for 50 years.
Well, unfortunately, some businesses, in the country are using SDGs as like a meaningless logo, basically.
Yeah.
But Tajima-san really takes it to heart. He really does it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And this was interesting as well. This is stock footage, is it?
Yeah. I mean, we didn't fly out here for these shots.
Unfortunately, our budget doesn't stretch to go to Bali or Alaska. If it did, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
There's a couple interviews that we have like people talking about other countries because we filmed this in the height of the pandemic, so we weren't able to leave the country.
Yeah.
So even if we had the budget for it, we're just like this is a cool shot. Because this is all open to the outside, so we actually took this from across the path.
Yeah. So setting up the slider took quite a long time, I seem to remember.
Yeah. And we also had to get the lighting and everything right. These shots take forever for a couple of seconds of eye candy.
Yeah.
They do take forever, but it's part of the craft.
I mean, that slider shot was probably about 30 minutes.
And they kept asking us, "Can we start?" Like, please wait.
Right, yeah. Can we just wait 2 more minutes? Because they don't know what you're doing when you're setting it up.
No.
It's very hard to tell what it's actually going to look like. So,
but they want it to look great, so we're like, just please be patient with us.
If you can explain to them beforehand what the shot will look like, then people are more willing
having
to wait.
done television for over half a decade, you can't explain.
Yeah. But when the result comes out, they've forgotten about how much effort it was to get it.
So you just gotta apologize and do it. Yeah. This is where you ask about his shirt.
Yeah. Now he's always 10 or 20 years behind. He's not wrong. Yeah. That was a fun video to make. It was one of probably the longest ones we've done.
Yeah, it took days, and we again got to partake in the experience, and so that really influenced our edit, and so it was good. It was really good.
So I think the next one is okay.
So this is Nishino Hotel, which again we filmed this during the pandemic. So one of the things that we really wanted to show is like how bustling the onsen is here.
Yeah.
But because of the pandemic, we actually got access to it, so that's good.
Yeah, that's true. So we got to film inside, which is quite unusual, really.
So this is Temonkan, downtown Kagoshima. I live, work here, and I never leave here unless forced to.
It is so convenient, though, isn't it?
I swear to God, like I come down from my apartment and I'm like eateries and bars everywhere. This is my life. This is where I live.
Yeah.
This street that this hotel is on is called Ginza Street, and it is one of my favorite streets for its gourmet restaurants.
Yeah.
And the hotel New Nishino is on the street. She is the, I think, third generation owner.
Third, yeah.
And so she also speaks really fluent English.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, when we got all the cameras out, they were like, "Hey, can you speak English?" It's in the blooper at the end, but she was like, "Is Japanese okay?"
Yeah, but the thing with this is that I phoned her up and I said, "Look, can we come and interview you?" And she was like, "Yeah." And then we turned up and she goes, "What is it today?" Because she thought we were going to do like a meeting about what we were going to do the interview.
I see.
And I was like, no, I said that we were going to do the interview. And she was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah.
They were incredibly accommodating to all of our ridiculous demands. We're like, we need to take video of this, we need to take video of that.
Yeah. So no, I think she did a good job because it was such a quick, request as well.
One of the challenging things about this interview was we were moving chairs, and I had dropped a chair on my kneecap.
Right.
And I had screwed up my leg, so I was almost unable to walk while we're setting up the shot for the interview, and it was in so much pain.
Right.
But she's got that gorgeous painting of Sakurajima right there, and we're just like, we've got to film you in front of this. These are the Japanese rooms that you sleep on the tatami mats and everything, and it's got that great scent to it, and especially in the summer months. It's really a great Japanese experience.
Well, location's great as well, right in the city center.
We had this B-roll, or this footage from when we did this right here, when we did the what is it called?
Fish market
tour filming from back when it was running before everything shut down and everything. So it was good that we had that, so we could include that, because now this place is, it'll change in a couple of months, I'm sure, but even now it's still off limits to non-employees due to health concerns. But yeah, you used to be able to like tour around, go in there, eat fresh meat, and just like hang out with like the people as they're doing like their auctions and stuff. It was really cool.
We just saw Natsuki from Small Talk Japan as well.
Yeah. Our sister channel that we produce as like a news kind of like free talk thing.
So this tour is really popular.
It'll come back probably in the fall of this year, 2022.
So it'll be good to see that again.
Yeah, it's the only downside of that tour is that it starts, I think, at like 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, it's very early. I mean, the good thing about it is they've managed to negotiate really close access. And other tours and things like if you go to Toyosu or what was the one in Tokyo?
Oh yeah.
You were kind of quite far away from the action,
Yeah.
and they really had too many tourists, so they didn't want people coming in. But here you can actually get right close up to what's going on.
Yeah, they'll high five you. Like, hey,
what's up?
I love seeing the old ladies bid for fish, because they're like in their 80s and they're like tough as nails.
And you've no idea what they're saying.
They're talking a different language, and they're talking so fast. And then when people win a bid, I was like, how? What did they do to win that? I didn't see them do anything. It's like their own world.
No, it's bizarre, isn't it? I've been to a few fish auctions.
We ask her.
So all right, okay.
I go for dinner. I want to go to a nice izakaya somewhere.
We just put her on the spot. You did. Do you want? She's actually quite fluent, guys. She speaks very well. I often see her with foreign people just like having a complete normal conversation in English. But
having spoken Japanese on TV, a fair few times, it is hard to get into that mode.
Yeah, especially if it's
kind of
suddenly.
Yeah, if somebody just goes, speak now.
So this is Flamingo Street, and this is my second home in Kagoshima. And it's not because of Yokoban. Yokoban, this restaurant, if you come to Kagoshima, you have to come here. This is like a must. Reina, the mama here, she is one of the most amazing people in the world. It comes across really well in this video. But not because of here. I'm always across the street at Hanakumate, which is a standing bar.
Right.
And the master there is like this kind of like Yanchan Chimpira. How do you say that? He's kind of like
a gangster.
He's not an actual gangster, but he kind of comes across as one.
Right.
He's like my best friend, older brother in Kagoshima.
Right.
And he's always asking me, why don't you do a People of Kagoshima on me?
Yeah, we've never done one, have we?
And I keep telling him I'm never gonna. He's the bald-headed guy on second from the left in that shot. And I keep telling him like, no, we're never gonna do one of you. And this is Hanakumate, this place. I'm always here.
Why don't we do one there?
Because I want to tease him about it.
Right, okay. I wonder what he'll do if we did one anyway. Maybe start singing or something.
Well, he's great in person, but you roll a camera and he just kind of clams up.
Yeah, he's quite shy, actually.
Yeah, he's actually kind of shy. Reina, on the other hand, she
is not shy.
I did this interview and she was just glowing the whole time and just animated and just super happy. And she's like that the whole time that you're in her restaurant.
No, she's very professional. You know, she's always switched on, right?
That's just who she is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, she's made inroads with all the important people in all of Kagoshima. She knows everybody.
Yeah.
Whenever I see her Instagram feed, I'm like, you know this person too?
Yeah.
And so she sources some of the best fresh ingredients from all the farmers and fishermen and stuff like that throughout Kagoshima. That's Kuma. That's where I'm always at. That's actually my mom gave him that hat.
Really?
So Reina, she's usually blonde, but for some reason when we did this interview, she didn't have blonde hair. And she regrets not having her blonde hair for the interview.
Can't we do it in post?
I guess we could.
Could go back and recorrect it into
Get
the
some
right color.
what is it called? Some artists, some Marvel artists, VFX artists to do it. So if you notice on the counter there's a little burner, and then there's like black stuff on the counter behind it. Those are little yogan plates. So they're magma protecting. That's a yogan plate on top of the right there.
Yeah.
So magma plate from Sakurajima. As you can see it pasted on the wall back there.
So she uses like local meat and stuff like vegetables.
Yeah. Speaking of people of Kagoshima, Small Talk Japan, our sister, like kind of, morning zoo show.
Yeah.
One of our patrons from that actually called
here, right?
Yeah, he called me up and he was like, he messaged me up. He's like, where do you recommend? And I sent him here, and he loved it.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely loved it.
No, it's a good atmosphere. If you want looking to go somewhere where you can just get in there and find some local people to chat with, or find a friend or something like that. If you're traveling sometimes, you want to make some friends with local people. This is like the best place to be.
You can go there by yourself as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you can get good food here, get good drinks here, and then because this place isn't open like super late, it's open at maybe maybe midnight or something like that. You can then go across the street to Hanakumate, which is open until 2 o'clock in the morning, and continue your drinking experience with locals.
So if you want an introduction to shochu as well, this is the best place.
Because she'll ask you, she knows all the shochu, so she'll ask you like what kind of flavors do you like. We did this in studio.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, shochu is such a craft these days. Kagoshima is really picking up their game on making some of the world's best shochu here.
I mean, it's crazy because there's so many types. I think there's over 2,000 types of something in Kagoshima.
Yeah.
And all the labels look super cool.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to tell which one you should start with. Right?
Yeah. Where do you start? It's the same thing with craft beer, right?
Yeah.
So having a guide to it like Reina is really important. We did this on location. I thought the shot turned out really well. This is one of Josh's good shots. So I asked her this. I was like, what's the difference between shochu and sake? Because everybody thinks sake when they come here, right?
Yeah.
And I think she did a great job explaining it.
I think one of the issues is that because shochu is so ingrained into Kagoshima culture, people aren't expecting a question like, what is shochu?
Right.
Because they go like, what? Like,
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like saying, how do you breathe?
Yeah. What is beer?
Yeah.
So they really have to think when they explain it right.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of foreign people, because it's a clear Japanese drink, people assume it's like Nihonshu.
Oh, yeah.
But it's something completely different.
I would say it's kind of closer to, I don't want to say vodka, but it is kind of closer to vodka than Nihonshu, to sake. Because it's distilled.
Yeah, it's a hard category because it's not really whiskey-like, and it's not really like vodka.
Yeah, it's not, it's its own thing, really.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of potential for it internationally. People who come here and try it.
One of my good friends right there. Love him.
So what does he do?
He is actually a professor. He works for, or not a professor. But that's one of my good friends as well. He's actually a professor, or he works for a university. I don't know if he's a professor, but he works for a university. And he's actually, him and a couple other guys are trying to import the shochu culture to New York.
Yeah.
So it's the whole izakaya show. She didn't know about this until a bunch of foreigners just started showing up at her bar. Yeah. Somebody had written a Lonely Planet article on her.
Yeah.
And so like all these people just started showing up. She's like, where are you guys coming from?
Yeah, I think I know who wrote that.
Really?
Yeah, I took him around a few places.
And he wrote us some articles.
Yeah.
This girl does no advertising. She just has an Instagram feed, and she's like so popular.
Yeah. Well, it's the vibe, isn't it? I think those things kind of get across without any advertising.
Yeah.
It's more kind of authentic, if you want.
And yeah, so although she's not like fluent, she can totally get by with people who can't speak Japanese. And learning sign language is one of the coolest things that. So Ray and I, we're really good friends, and so she got her boating license, which inspired me to get my boating license.
Right. Okay.
And then that and my YouTuber friend that we did it together with, and like she knows Shua sign language, and I was thinking maybe I should learn a couple phrases in sign language.
Right.
Because it's just so cool watching her do it.
It's like a rivalry thing now.
It's not a rivalry. I just think it's really cool. She inspires me.
But you still don't drink that much shochu, though.
I'm not a shochu drinker.
Yeah.
But I'm totally cool. But I know enough about it that I can recommend good shochu to people.
Yeah.
Or at least take them to the people who can.
I've been looking at her Instagram account recently. She's doing a lot of fishing.
Yeah, I know.
Going on the boat, right? Having a good time with it.
No, they've got like a giant boat fishing party thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. I just, getting up early in the morning thing is just not my thing.
No, I'm not a morning person.
Wake up at 4 to go fishing. I mean, and this was just random. This random customer came in.
Yeah.
Regular here, and she's using the sign language just randomly while we were there filming. It was great. Josh had to go in here and like film it at night when there's customers there and they're all having a great time eating and drinking, and Josh is sitting there with his camera and just like, oh, I want to.
Yeah,
have fun
I always
too.
feel sorry for Josh when he's doing this, because it's like there's often a restaurant scene or a bar scene or anything like that. You've got to imagine there's also a cameraman there with a load of heavy equipment and lights and microphones and things like that.
He's a good sport. And every now and then, oyato-sa, it's like, otsukare-sama, it's like, watashi?
No.
She's so Kagoshima dialect.
Yeah. So in case you don't know, Kagoshima dialect does go up and down a lot.
It's like a roller coaster of intonation.
Yeah.
I speak Kagoshima dialect pretty naturally.
You?
Yeah. Everybody, dude, that's why I got on TV. They're like, oh my god, you sound like a Kagoshima person. This was a big get.
Yeah.
Shinjukan does not even. He turned away what, like BBC level people. It's like, no, I'm not going to do an interview for you.
Yeah, he turned in some quite big interview just before this, so I thought, oh, there's no way he'll do it. But I gave him a call and he was like, oh yeah, do it for you.
This is one of the Power of Alex places, and this was a very challenging film because it's so much. He has so much artwork.
Yeah.
You just can take endless amounts of footage, and it's really difficult to just get across the audience like how beautiful and intricate these things really are.
I mean, the edit of this was actually very difficult because I think we spoke for over an hour.
Yeah.
And it probably would have been possible to use that unedited as a separate video.
When we were editing this, the two of us were discussing maybe we should just release the full unedited interviews as like a side thing at some point. And then the two of us said that we have to translate it.
Yeah, that's the issue. The real issue is the translation, because obviously the edit of the video does take a long time as well. But to get across the meaning of it fully, and in a respectful way,
so that's
difficult.
That's, you just hit it right there. It's not. We can easily just translate it. Like we could throw it up on YouTube and have YouTube automatically translate captions. The point is to get across what these incredibly like top of their field people are saying in the way that they mean it in English.
So he explained some really complicated Japanese phrases as well. I don't think we actually put it into the final video, but fueki ryuko and things like that. You know, like really complicated.
We'd have to like pause the video and be like, okay, guys, here's a Japanese lesson.
Let's switch over to another. Yeah. But it was great to go into the actual workshop as well and see the craftspeople working here. And again, you know, amazing concentration considering there's a cameraman behind them with a lot of equipment.
They completely ignored us.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't even there.
Yeah, just focused.
Weird. Fun, complete side story. I was at a bar the other day, and like one of the people who was working this day was there.
No way.
And I was like, I went to your place of work and I filmed this and I put it on YouTube and I showed it to her. And she's like, I was there, no way. I was like, how did you not notice? I'm like, I'm blonde, dude. But yeah, they're just so constant. This was a lot of like, how do we talk about this? And I was like, all right, we're paying for B-roll from or stock footage.
Yeah.
But it's fine because it gives the.
But it helps with the imagination of the scene and things like that. Yeah. But it's he's really thinking very, very deeply about how his craft is created, you know, and the journeys he's gone through. And because he's done so many, media things in the past. It's all very, very well thought out.
Yeah.
The answers are really, really concise.
His reverence for the local culture, history, and and the work that his family has done for, like, for example, the Shimazu clan, and over the years, it's just it's such deep history.
Yeah,
it's really interesting. One of the things that was really difficult for us is when we were talking, when you were interviewing him, he got really emotional, and I included it in the video, but like we started to get emotional with him.
Yeah.
Because of how he was just very articulate, and just like the things that we were talking about. He's just a very genuine human being.
Yeah. This room actually is really nice as well. It doesn't really look super Japanese with the chair and everything. This is due to his Korean heritage as well. But the actual environment was really, really nice as well. But the room is a little bit narrow, so it was very hard to get all the kit in and get that shot framed up as well. But it came out really well.
Yeah, there's so much from this that, like, so much B-roll that was left out, that there's just so many beautiful things that you just can't, you don't have enough time in the video to show it all.
So the shot of Korea there from beforehand, I actually had to check what that statue was.
Yeah.
And, who it was of, and whether it was historically accurate or not,
Because you and I are dealing with cultures, the Japanese culture, we mostly have a handle on, like, we're pretty good with that. But every now and then we'll have to deal with, like, when people talk about their experiences in other countries, like Denmark and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know anything about Denmark.
Yeah. And then it's, Google.
Yeah.
Have a look. But there is, there's a lot of cultural minefields that we're kind of treading on, because these people are incredibly well respected in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very hard to state how highly ranked Shinjukan is as a potter. He's got, like, awards from the emperor and things like that.
Yeah, when we released this video, locals were like, "How did you get access?
Yeah.
Like, what did you do?" And the great thing about this is that when we talk to these people, because maybe it's because we're foreign and because we kind of have this outsider vibe to us, that they kind of really do open up to us.
Oh yeah.
And so we're always and we want to be respectful of that, right?
Yeah. So Shiba Ryotaro, who's the writer he's talking about at the moment, is actually a very, very famous Japanese writer. All Japanese people know him. And actually his Shinjukan's father was the subject of a book by Shiba Ryotaro, which my wife is actually reading at the moment.
Your wife reads so many books.
Yeah, she does. She gets to do loads. And these little pieces as well, so detailed. I mean, it'd be brilliant if we had more time to actually describe them as well.
Not just them, like the description of them, but how they're made.
Yeah.
And how many because they're kilned, right? So they actually, a lot of these crack in the creation process. So you don't just make one; you have to make several of them to get one.
Yeah. And they also shrink in the kiln.
Yeah.
About 20%, I think he said, because the water escapes.
Yeah, and you have to really, account for that. So this as well, like, all these different countries are like, let's be respectful. Let's make sure that we got the right stock footage of these places.
No, I think this was a really good interview. I mean, we went through, it was a very long process to get, him to do it first, and then to film it all, and to go through the discussion. It's quite a high-level discussion in Japanese as well, so this is kind of quite taxing for all of us too. And then when we finished, he was like, "All right, is that it now?"
Do you guys want to go to sushi?
Yeah, let's go to sushi. Yeah, so he took us out for lunch afterwards, which was quite nice.
And we just had a complete, chill, awesome conversation with him.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
So
Look at the intricacies of this. Like, it's hard for us to capture it on camera, but like you look at it and you just can stare at it forever.
absolutely, yeah. So Satsumoya does pop up quite a lot in European and maybe American as well, actually. Antique shops and things like that, because it was sold abroad very often. But the Satsumoya that you find often over there is from Kyoto. It's not from Kagoshima.
Yeah.
So this is the original, authentic Satsumoya. And he's the top level craftsman of that. Very, very lucky to get access.
And it's a good thing that you have, access to a lot of these Shimazu historical photos and things like that as well, that you really do help us in when we put it all together.
Yeah. So we had to get permission from the
this shot was because you got us access to this area.
Yeah, so we had to go to
in Sengayen.
Goten.
Yeah, if we didn't have you on board on helping us, obviously it's your project, you're the producer of it, but if you weren't here, we wouldn't get half of these shots or access to these people.
So these are the original ones, right? One of the 17 sets that they made. So I was like, I saw the crack in it, and I was like, is that it? Can't you just cover it up with some clay? And he was like, no. Yeah, crazy. I mean, to see the ones there and then to go to the house at Sengayan and see the completed ones, knowing how much effort got put into them, it completely changes the narrative. You know,
we don't think about it because we just see the finished thing and we're like, oh, pretty. But then if you see the effort that went to make it, then you respect it on a whole different level.
So this is kind of what I want to do with Kagoshima: is strip away these facades and just quick go and look at it type tourism and go deeper, meet people, find out the stories, have some appreciation for the area. That's really what I want to do. And
I mean, we would be dishonest if we didn't say that we do take some of our cues from humans of New York.
Oh, absolutely.
But the difference between Kagoshima people and people in New York is that Kagoshima people don't generally open up and just say whatever they want to a camera like a person in New York does.
Yeah, so humans of New York is very much... the people on it are fascinating, absolutely fascinating, but they do really come out of the shell straight away. But with Japanese people, you have to dig a little bit deeper, and trust is really important.
This talk about his son, I think we're probably the only production that got this talk.
No, he's never talked about that to anybody else. So he doesn't often talk about transmission to the next generation.
Yeah.
And there was a bit more actually that we didn't put in about how his son took days off school when they were firing the kilns.
Yeah.
So he could actually help out, and how they taught them, actually how he taught him the method as well. So I think maybe we should release that.
And I saw you as a father talking to him about his own son and taking on the mantle of this kiln.
Yeah.
And I could see you getting emotional about it because it was just a heartfelt conversation. It was so touching.
Yeah.
This was a difficult translation here.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the detail in this art. It's just insane.
So these are all ones that were supposed to be exported to Europe.
These are the broken plates and everything, the discarded.
Yeah.
That they just keep there. It's crazy.
It makes a nice crunch to walk up. It's very satisfying. So the excerpt part of this at the end, the little the blooper type thing, this was actually quite hard to get because he's quite a serious person when he's in interview mode.
Yeah.
So it took a little bit of pushing to get something that fit that kind of format or whatever. Yeah, so really focusing on the work he needs to do from now on, is his main goal. And then to give us a bit at the end.
So we want in every one of these videos, especially if it can happen in the blooper reel after the post beep thing.
Yeah.
We want them to smile and laugh and kind of drop the seriousness for a minute, if we can. And that was a really touching moment. This is also your connection, and this is one of our more popular with the samurai fanatics.
Yeah, this has actually got a lot of views.
Yeah.
People search for samurai swords and stuff like that quite a lot. So this is an interesting place. It's in a company building, so it's not open to the public or anything like that.
Yeah, we just rocked in with all of our camera crew and everything, and they were like... And we're like, we're here to see the president. And they're like, okay, right this way. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah. So he's a really cool guy, actually. He's put a lot of effort into kind of preserving samurai culture.
We walked in, he was literally sitting in a chair holding an ancient gun.
Yeah.
And we were like, hello.
Hi, how's it going? I noticed his company is also based in Hyoki. And I drove past the other day, and there's a comment right at the end of this video that says, do swords and jazz go together well?
Yeah.
And he goes, yes, they do. And the front of his shop is a massive mural, and on one side of it is a samurai in armor, and the other side is Miles Davis. So I was like, my God. And I don't know if he did it after this or before it, but they do go together quite well. It's huge. I was like, what?
Now we need to make a samurai movie that's scored with nothing but jazz.
Yeah, jazz samurai. There's an anime series like that, I believe. I can't remember what it's called now. Something Bebop. No.
What's it called? Bebop. I know what you're talking about.
Samurai Champloo, yeah.
Hip hop and samurais, okay. Josh is behind the camera, just informed us of that.
So these swords, he actually got them out of the case for us to have a look at, and he was kind of handing them to us, like, here's one that's 900 years old. Don't drop it.
Yeah, and like me and Josh were very much like white glove treatment of everything. We're like, don't touch anything, just take. And you were just like over there having a chat with him.
Yeah,
he's like playing around with swords and everything.
Yeah, well, I'm used to handling them.
So this, because the martial arts background. So this room with all these swords is like a museum of samurai swords, hundreds and hundreds of them, and it's completely his little private collection.
Yeah. So he's put them out in a nice way, actually better than the museums a lot of the time. Because the museums that display swords, the curators are actually curators of many different items. They're not sword specialists per se. So often the swords are displayed in such a way it's very hard to see the actual detail.
Can you explain why there's no hilts on them, or is it the handle?
So they take the koshirai, the fittings off, so that you can see the nagao, the tang of the sword, and that actually usually has an inscription in it that says who made it. Sometimes when it was made. Sometimes there might be a little mark that represents something like that it's won a competition or something like that. And then sometimes it actually says how many bodies it cut through when they tested it. So they would get prisoners and lie them up on a mound of earth and then cut through their dead bodies with the sword. So one of the swords they have there has like three bodies, three upper bodies.
That would slide through in one swing.
Yeah. So, if you know how to read it, there's a little story there.
There's a little, very bloody story there.
But for me, I personally prefer the koshirai, the fittings. So it has a lot of fittings as well. The actual sheath and the things we can see here, the sword guard. For me, those are the kind of interesting parts because it shows the kind of artistic sense that the samurai had. So it's like an accessory that you might wear today, like a watch or something like that. For the samurai, a sword was that kind of thing. It showed your status, kind of what your thinking was, what you believed in, maybe. Yeah.
And getting back to your martial arts background, you do keep us honest when we do these things because I'm from Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh, this is it.
Oh, right, yeah. Jazz does go well with swords. He's actually got an amp or something that Miles Davis used, I think.
Really?
Yeah, he's a super hardcore jazz fan. Like, really.
So, getting back to, you since you have the martial arts background, I like to Vegas things up a little bit.
Right.
And you're always toning, you're like, no, let's be respectful.
Let's be serious about this. Yeah. So this is Noriko, who actually works at the company I work for, and she's one of the senior Satsumakiriko craftspeople.
We literally got her off the line.
Yeah.
She, on her lunch break.
Yeah.
Was like, yeah, I'll come and do your interview.
Can we borrow you for an hour? And she was like, okay. But she's actually really good at speaking as well. Yeah. So I was really impressed, actually, because most craftspeople aren't used to speaking so much.
Yeah.
Because they do quite a quiet, focused job.
Yeah.
So when you interview them, they just go like, I don't know. They don't really speak much.
When I first saw this Satsuma Kiriko, my first initial thought was, my God, that is too colorful.
Right.
And why is it so interesting? What is this? But then I had no idea how it was made.
Right.
Then after I saw how it was made, I was like, oh my God, that is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, when you use it in isolation, so obviously on display in the shop, there are lots of colors together. But when you actually use it as an item on its own, it's just one. And when you pick it up and drink from it, it's kind of kaleidoscopic world inside.
Yeah.
That you kind of fall into. That's the kind of magic of it, really.
For me, it's, since we're so used to, plastic injection molding stuff.
Yeah.
It would be really easy to make these out of plastic and just pump plastic into a mold, color it afterwards.
Yeah.
But that's not how these are made.
No,
these are first melted glass that is shaped roughly into the shape that they're going to make it, and then cut away to the design.
Well, the glass is layered as well. It's not just one piece of glass. There are two layers that are sandwiched together.
Clear and then the colored, or the second color.
And then that's, slowly ground away. So it's all done by hand. Very, very laborious process. But, the weight of it, the feel of it, the small detail, the feeling that everything's unique as well, because it's been made by human hands so it's not exactly the same.
We filmed this interview after the next video in the series.
Yeah.
And I changed the release order because I wanted the audience to know how incredibly difficult this art form is before we did the next video.
Right, okay.
So I wanted them to appreciate first, and then the second interview makes more. The next video after this one makes more sense.
Yeah. So this is a good kind of introduction to the way that Japanese people think in many ways. So this person, Noriko, was really, really into Satsuma Kiriko and really wanted to work for the company that made it.
Yeah.
And she asked them if she could work there, and they kept saying no. Like they said no for almost 10 years before they let her join. So you've got to be very, very persistent to get what you want sometimes.
That story reminded me of your Jigenyu story, where you went to the dojo and you're like, "Hi, I'd like to do Jigenyu." They're like, "No."
They're like, no, who are you?
But I can't talk too much about this, but I do have a friend who did a very traditional Japanese cultural thing, and that friend had to pressure these people to just be their apprentice, like ask for years.
Oh yeah.
And finally got access. So that is exactly how this works.
But when you do get that trust, they open up a whole world of contacts and information and all kinds of things to you. So it does make it worth it if you're willing to put the effort in. But it's to filter out people who aren't serious.
Yeah, it is.
Because you put all this effort into teaching somebody and they quit after a year or something. It's not worth it.
No, you gotta have the staying power, right? The grit.
But 10 years is particularly long.
Yeah, that is that was a little. That's why it got into the edit, because it is unusual.
It is extreme. Yeah.
So we did this interview in the shop.
Yeah.
It's like a museum shop where you can actually purchase these things, but it is also kind of doubles as a museum where you can look at these things.
Yeah.
And it was challenging because as we're doing the interview and we get to kind of a serious point, this rather like lively group.
Right, yeah.
And it was during their business hours, so we just had to wait.
Yeah. They were kind of walking it through the set.
Yeah, we're just like, we'll wait. This, by the way, all of these little factory areas that you're seeing in the video, you can visit. It's a free walkthrough that you can do at Sengayen, and you can see them working in their shop, in their workshop.
So you can get right next to where they are there and see literally from about this angle, maybe closer.
And you can take photos and everything, and they're just totally cool with it.
So yeah, we had to cordon off an area of the shop so that people wouldn't come through, and they were a bit concerned about how it would look, because obviously it's hard to tell what it's going to look like on camera.
Right. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's got Sakurajima in the background, not a poster.
And we've got some more drone shots in Sengayen. So again,
this is the tea house that you can walk through and you get a guided tour.
It's not a tea house, it's a palatial residence.
Sorry, I just know that you used to do the tea ceremony there, so
yeah.
Sorry. See, this is why you're on the this is why you're keeping us real.
Yeah.
Whenever I wanted Vegas something, you're like, no.
Stop Vegasing. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is like a really interesting craft, and it takes a lot of time and effort to create it as well. So it's good to capture just a little bit of that and let people know about it as well.
Watching these people just lose themselves in their craft for hours every day is crazy.
Yeah.
And then watching the rejects, they just throw away these things all the time. Like whenever there's a problem with it, it's just thrown away.
Yeah. Well, they actually melt it down now, but because the glass is layered, it doesn't go back to a state where it can be reused for the same purpose.
Because it's the two mixed types of glasses.
Yeah, so they repurpose it for other accessory making.
Oh, that's cool.
Which isn't Satsuma Kiriko, but
just other stuff.
Yeah, so it's not wasted.
Capturing the delicacy and the beauty of these items was a challenge. And Josh, this is actually another shop. There's two shops that you can visit. This is next to the Sengayen Starbucks.
Yeah,
that's very popular.
So Josh getting the camera out and setting it on the gimbal to run around as well. That's always a time-consuming.
They're looking at us. They're like, "What are you guys gonna do?" And you're just like explaining it to the shop staff. You're like, "It's fine, it's fine." And they're just like, "Don't break anything.
Just leave it."
This is the Iso Beach. You can visit there. It's right across the street from the Sengayen. And this is, again, you can visit this place. You can see them doing this.
Yeah.
Like right in front of you at Sengayen.
So he's cutting out the impurities in the glass there, any bubbles or little bits of detritus or whatever.
And they do have little placards where you can read what they're doing. You can see there the little bit of English as well that you've helped translate.
Yeah.
At Sengayen. again, it's just capturing how beautiful these are on camera in a not on set, but on location situation is difficult.
And quickly as well.
Yeah, because they're like, get out.
Finish up and get out, Actually, organizing these interviews isn't easy. It takes a long time because people are quite hesitant at first to do it, especially when the series wasn't known at all.
Yeah. Now it's a little easier because we got a season out.
And we've got some big names that have done it already locally anyway, so we can say to people, look.
I want to say that these blooper reels are almost always my questions because I'm always just like, no, we got to get them to laugh. So then I ask them a fun question.
Yeah.
Because you're always the serious guy. And then this I really wanted to know about this. That would be totally horrible.
Yeah.
Like, they spend a week or two doing something and then they drop
broke it.
Yeah.
Newbie broke it,
Horrible. But yeah, the blooper questions are almost always my questions.
True. Very true.
So these aren't all. So this is STORi. This is downtown Tamonkan, and we filmed this before.
That's right. Yeah.
Now it's not. I mean, it's pretty obvious from this, but these two are a couple.
Yeah.
And they are the most adorable couple in the world. I love them to death.
They are hilarious, aren't they?
When they're on, they're on. And when you're at their bar, it's just so much fun. These were actually taken on location.
No,
we set these shots up on the bar.
Did you? I thought it
There's
was in the
no
studio.
way they would let us take these out of their shop.
Right.
Each one of these glasses are $2,000 to $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're insured, right? They're like, yes, but only here.
I see.
So we had to take those shots there. And it was kind of a challenge for me and Josh to figure out how to do that. But yeah, we did it on location.
They have a pretty amazing collection there, don't they, really? And a lot of them are custom orders.
For them, yeah. They have two types of cups, really. They have the Satsuma Kiriko, and then they have what is that in English? Pewter? It's not pewter.
Pewter, well, it's tinware, really.
Tin, is it?
Yeah.
And
Suzuki,
Suzuki, yeah. And whenever I go there, I always ask to fit a paper cup. It's like, can you give me a paper cup?
Paper cup.
Because I'm like, don't trust me with that.
Mind you, if it was a paper cup, it'd probably be like Satsuma, what's it called? Washi
or something.
Kamo washi or something like that. So some of the cups are really unique. There's one that's like pewter and lacquer, or something like that. I can't remember who made it, but it was absolutely lovely. I really wanted to buy one after seeing it, trying it out there.
So here's a little behind the scenes thing, but the customers in the shot, because they didn't want us to film the real customers because privacy issues and everything, they're actually kind of plants.
Right.
We kind of like went there when we knew that we had like friendlies available.
Yeah.
And actually one of them is one of my really close friends that we hang out like all the time. But it was really good to get them on camera.
I just noticed they got some Satsuma-ware cups there as well, so they probably got some by Shinjukan.
Yeah. No. They've got Shinjukan art there as well,
and wood as well, yakusugi.
So when these two left their businessman lives and they opened STORi, they wanted to have like a very Japanese. What do you call it in English? It's like the little dish that comes out when you sit down.
Otoshi.
Yeah, otoshi. What would you call it in English?
Like a starter?
Like a Japanese starter.
Yeah.
It's usually it's included in your seating charge or something like that.
Yeah.
So they wanted to have a very Japanese flavor, and so they have what's it called? Forgetting Japanese now. The little egg thing that you get at sushi. The egg. Josh, help me on this.
Dashimaki?
No. Sumi. Mushi.
Chawamushi.
Chawamushi. There you go. Chawamushi. So they went around to all of my favorite restaurants to figure out how to make the best chawamushi, including going to one of our favorite izakayas.
Right.
And so they learned how to make their chawamushi by visiting all these popular places.
Right, I see.
And anyway, they really got it down. They have a great recipe. So if you go there, you can choose like nuts or like dried raisins or something like that from their starter menu, but get the chawamushi, which is like a egg custard. What would you call that? I don't know.
Well, it's like a egg-based
egg. Like a savory egg custard. Josh, our cameraman, went to chef school.
Right.
Because that makes sense. He did. He really did.
That's a nice shot there.
This shot took time. So I wasn't there. That was Josh. We shoot these on Netflix approved cameras, and the data that comes out of these cameras is just like it's just slogging in SSDs.
Well, to make this series, you bought a lot of extra storage.
We spent we bought a brand new server. I think it was like $60,000 or something for it. It's crazy.
So
And we had to put in an air conditioner into the room that it's in.
right.
But yeah, this is a project that we're super serious about. And like these two, I love these two. And if anybody can visit this place, Skei in downtown Tamacon, it's beautiful. I mean, it's not exactly the cheapest bar, but it's not ridiculously expensive. In fact, I would say that it's cheaper than a crappy dive bar in Vegas.
Yeah.
So
it's good to try out these different craft items as well and see what the difference is. So
and they
if
can
you have
explain
the
it to as well.
same drink in different glass actually does taste different. You know,
The experience is totally different.
So
These two are a little bit nervous on camera. And
yeah,
to
you
get
can
them,
tell actually. Yeah.
To get them to open up was kind of fun. That's why this one has the most bloopers on it, because they were just so funny.
Right. There's a bit of side eye going on later on as well.
Yeah.
Because he says the wrong glass.
Yeah, because the two of them are a little, like, their characters are a little catty.
Yeah.
But it's part of their, it's part of their vibe.
Yeah. So they wear kimono all the time, right?
At work, they do.
Yeah.
In their private life, like, they wear, like, t-shirts and baseball caps.
Yeah.
Like, I know them because I'm their friend. Like, we hang out privately. And actually, one of their friends owns a gay bar in Tokyo that I love and I frequent. Like every time I'm in Tokyo, I'm hanging out there. It's
Nice.
one of the favorites. It's called Bar Snob.
Snob. Suits you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They kept doing this during the interview. They'd step over each other, like.
Right.
That's the back of my head. And during the interview, I said, "Why don't you guys have a drink and loosen up?"
Right.
And that was that shot. They're like,
They're cute, aren't they? So they were nervous, weren't they? I'm
yeah,
surprised.
no, they are so cute. They're the cutest couple. I love them to death. So yeah, definitely check out Bar Skei if you ever come to Kagoshima. This was a project that took months.
Ah, yeah. So this was one of your ones, right?
Yeah, we were going to do a documentary series on this group, but various things happened and the pandemic happened, and so it kind of got canned. But we had hundreds of hours of footage of this group performing that we just kind of refitted into a People of Kagoshima episode.
Right.
And so you can see Kurara here. She's got blonde hair in the interview, but in the B-roll footage, she's got black hair.
Okay.
Because the two things were shot months apart.
Right. Yeah. So I wasn't there for this one.
No. This is a challenging interview just because I don't really know a lot about idols, but one of my really close friends is one of their die fans, big fans.
Right, okay.
And so like I asked him kind of what I should ask.
I see. No, I've literally no idea about this culture, so it's fascinating for me to see as well. But it was a good, insight into it. It kind of seems a bit weird to outsiders, I guess. But when you look at it,
it is weird, but it's great weird.
Yeah, it's kind of wholesome weird, right?
And the thing is the subculture, what you're talking about, the fans are what really make it for me. They're such respectful people.
Right.
They follow all the rules, and it's just this really interesting. Josh, who didn't know anything about this world when I first took him there. He left and he just he kind of had like a 1,000-yard stare.
Right.
It's like, I don't know what I just experienced, but that got to process that.
Right. Yeah.
And after you get to know these people, they're just like really wholesome, down-to-earth people.
Right. So this is the end of her career as an idol.
She's about to graduate. They call it graduating.
Right.
And I think I can't confirm this, but I think the word on the street is that she's going to get married.
Oh, right. Okay.
Or something like that. She's moved on. She's already moved on by the time that this is published.
Yeah.
And so she's no longer there, but it was kind of like her graduation. That's her.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It's kind of her graduation last interview.
Right. So she was the leader of this group.
She was a leader, yeah.
And when you went to interview this, was like the cafe place or performing state? They have one place.
They have one place. It's a cafe during it's a idol cafe where the idols serve drinks and food during the off times, and then they have performances on Sundays,
right?
Or big events.
You see, I'm still learning about this, asking questions about it as we were watching.
No, and it's really we had unprecedented access because the producer, I met him through a different project. And because my best friend is one of his really good customers,
yeah,
they kind of trusted me. And I'd actually visited this place before as just like a customer with my friend.
Yeah.
And so I was like, can I do a documentary on you guys? And he's like, what?
Right.
And so we kind of gained their trust. And then, like I said, we shot all this footage anyway, but unfortunately due to the pandemic, we couldn't finish it. So we, again, put it into People of Kagoshima. And I think it turned out really well.
Yeah.
So when we were filming the interview with Kurara, it's shut down because it's during the pandemic, so everything's shut down. And so, yeah, it was cool that they let us into their world.
You've got some back scenes type footage as well.
Yeah, they let us in, and towards the end, like I think they really started to trust Josh. Josh is kind of like an endearing character. He's not very like he's the opposite of us.
Right. Okay. So not brash and loud.
Yeah. So he just kind of just like gets access to places. He's like, sorry, can I get in here and film? And they're just like, yeah, right this way. Yeah, and they all know that. So the audience, they all know the song and dance and everything, and it's really interesting.
So the costumes made by the parents then, or is it like
Costume is mostly made by the producer's wife,
I see. Yeah.
and some of the members help out as well. And the BGM for this, the background music, is all their produced music. This is the only one that we've had so far where the background music was from the interviewer.
Yeah.
From the interview. So that was good.
Actually, we changed up the background music quite a lot for the second series of this, right?
Yeah, so you guys looking forward to the second season, which will mostly premiere. We did a couple teaser episodes, but we're gonna do like a whole season, like week by week by week for like release schedule, so it's like very consistent this time. And we've changed up, so like scoring it is taking a lot longer because before we just had like one kind of like drum and bass background music that just kind of went through the whole thing. Now we've really scored it because we have the time to do that. Because the first season was quite rushed.
Oh, it was crazy, isn't it?
The production schedule was insane. So now we have more time to produce it. And so season 2 has scoring, which is very difficult.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just one track all the way through. Right?
No, it's very, very difficult.
So I think we've kind of like gotten better as we've been going through this process.
Yeah, it's
as well.
been a learning process for everybody involved.
Yeah.
And also jumping through a lot of because it is a government project, so jumping through all the hoops necessary to get everything done.
Yeah.
We've gotten very good at that.
Yeah. So this project is a complete real challenge to actually get going and get started with and to keep going as well. So obviously we're very, very happy when everybody subscribes to the channel and likes the videos as well.
I mean, it's also humbling, because it's a work of love for us because we love this city, these people, and we want that love to, we want to spread it, right?
Yeah.
So when people leave us comments, they're like, oh my God, I really want to go here, or I really love this person, it motivates us to do even better on the next episode.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's somebody that people want to see or something about Japan that they want to know about, get in touch with us and let us know. We'll find them. Because there are loads of interesting people in Kagoshima.
Yeah, and there's no floor, there's no ceiling on what we do. Like, we got Tenku no Mori's, owner, and we got Migo Migo, who's like, local idols. Anything, as long as it's Kagoshima and it's real, we'll likely feature it if we, Oh, I had to ask the producer what they're saying here. I was like, what are they saying?
No, I had no idea about this. And when we were trying to translate it as well, it didn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
I was like, is this correct?
Yeah, so he gave me the words. I was like, oh, okay.
What is it? Tiger...
Fire whatever.
I don't know what it is. Well, it's kind of odd but cute, I suppose.
No, because everybody needs a home. So the people who love these local idols, they found themselves a home here, which is really cool. Very subculture.
But that present worked out because she remembered it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and now it's in a video.
I bet she keeps it. She keeps it. Oh yeah. We just got a coffee delivery. Amazing.
Way.
Thank you, Alex's
water.
wife. Amazing. Okay, so this was actually a big get. So I want to explain a little bit of recent history behind this place. So in the beginning of the pandemic, before we knew anything about it really, this place continued their performances just like every other place did it in Japan. And so they were one of the first large clusters here in Kagoshima, and so they got nationally famous from that. They were all plastered across all the news outlets across the country. And because of that, it was no one's at fault there. It was just we didn't know what was going on, right? And so when that happened, they got kind of media shy for a little while. But because I knew Reina, the mama here, is so smart and so interesting, and this place was such a fabric of the downtown nightlife here, that I really, really tried to go through various channels to get in touch with her to get this going. And we finally did it. And what was really interesting during the interview process here, I was intending to interview her.
Yeah.
But she kept, I don't know how to explain it, but she kept being a little uneasy talking to me a little bit, like a little shy.
Right.
And I realized that when she was speaking to one of other staffers, a female, that she was totally fine.
I see.
And I think something about, I don't know, she got more girl talky when she was talking to a female.
Yeah.
So I replaced myself with that female person to do the interview, and she's opened up.
Right, I see.
It was totally great.
I tried to get her to do an interview before for something. It wasn't an interview, it was a talk at an event.
Yeah.
And I think at the time she didn't really want to do it because she was talking about kind of like transgender identity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she was like, really, I'm not really a spokesperson for that. You know, I am a person of that kind of subset or whatever.
LGBTQ, yeah.
But I don't want to talk about it as a spokesperson.
Yeah.
I'm just living my life,
Yeah.
you know, and having fun with it. So I kind of understood a little bit more about it because of that kind of viewpoint as well. I thought, you know, not everybody wants to be a political kind of
Yeah, she doesn't want to be a
mouthpiece or
spokesperson.
anything
Yeah,
like
for.
that.
Well, that's one of the things that she actually says during this interview is that she says, we asked her many more questions about that.
Yeah.
Because she's the first transgendered person that we had on the series, and she was just like, dude, just live your life, stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
That was her answer to everything. I was just like, okay, cool.
Yeah. No, it's a good message as well. You know, that's the correct message, I think, instead of going on about it. You know.
So we went to film here, right? And we got access to one of the performances. And before we saw the performance, we did the interview before the performance, okay? And Josh was like, what is this place? Because he'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
And I was like, Josh, just wait till you see the show. It's actually a really freaking great time.
Right.
And he was like, I don't know. And after he filmed the show, we were talking about it, he was like, that was actually really cool.
Right, yeah.
He actually enjoyed it. He's like, I think I'm going to bring my wife here.
That's a super popular night spot there in Kagoshima, isn't it?
And it's got its own little like nifty culture. It's a little historical culture. And like I don't know if it's made it to the cut, but there's like the tip time at the end where you put like 1,000 yen in the waribashi, the chopsticks that you can break apart.
Yeah.
And you like wave it around, you can like pay the girls.
Yeah.
And it's just like all these little fun things that they do here. It's just really interesting.
So Ren is the second or third?
Second mama.
Second, right.
I believe she's the second mama.
Right.
Now there are parts of the show that we couldn't put in a YouTube series.
Right. Yeah. Well, some of it leans towards the adult.
Yeah, it's not a place that you take children.
No.
But there are absolutely gorgeous scenes like this. But there are some like because they have it's a production, so they have clown bits when they're switching over the sets or the girls are changing in the background. So they have like this is like a clown bit where they come out and do kind of funny things to like distract the audience while they're doing something else. And some of those bits are a little adult.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't want to bring a child here.
Well, one of them you put in to the video, and I said we had to take it out because
I pushed.
Yeah.
I pushed, and you're like, no.
Yeah. One of them was just a little bit too far.
That's actually a closing scene. This has been reversed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we didn't have a great scene of her coming out.
I see.
And like here I am, and so I just reversed one of our clips.
Right, no way. So there was this one night that you shot all this
One
footage?
night, yeah, we had to get it all in one night. And surprisingly, because Josh was just manning the big camera, I'm over there with my iPhone. Some of this is iPhone footage.
Really?
Because the show lights are so bright. iPhone footage is actually pretty good if it's bright.
Yeah.
And because the show lights are so bright, some of the footage that we used was from my iPhone.
Right, I see.
We had 2 normal cameras set up, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, this place is so fun. And not only is this a good show, but the ladies of the show actually come out and drink with you.
Right, okay.
Before and after the show.
Yeah.
So you get it. It's kind of a joke, but if you go there with a mixed gendered group, like men and women, they'll bully the girls.
Right, I see.
But they don't actually bully them. They'll try to distract the men from the girls, kind of
I
thing.
see.
And it's
Yeah.
really funny.
Yeah. I think this is a really nice video. It was really well put together.
Anything that has stage lighting is always fun to shoot.
But also challenging as well, because you've got to get all the kit in there and then leave it all the way through the performance, right? This is a nice bit at the end. PM, was it? I was wondering how to translate that.
So I just put sniff, but it's it was. And if you look at the credits, some of these are edited by me, some of these are edited by Josh. But it's absolutely a team effort. We all have feedback and we tweak things together. But yeah, it's definitely a team effort. This was you and your wife's suggestion, and I really like that we did this.
Yeah. I love the opening shot to that with the tram going past.
Yeah, because the tram is. I mean, that actually inspired us to do a different episode for season 2.
Yeah. So getting these old photos is a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
But we eventually got hold of them.
Also, filming the breadth of this place was very challenging because it encapsulates you. It's all around you.
Yeah.
So even with the widest wide-angle lens, you don't get how much stuff there is in this area.
There's also a lot of very narrow spaces. So I remember Josh came back about 2 or 3 times.
The toilet is so weird.
Gimbal, yeah.
The toilet. I think I had a shot of it at the end here or something. It's so weird. This was also challenging because of the different lighting and everything, and the fact that they were open for business while filming this.
So there was a lot of people walking around behind you. Did a lot of work on the sound for this, I seem to remember.
So there were 2 problems with sound on this. One, that we couldn't use... So all of these are filmed with wireless microphones and an overhead shotgun. And we had trouble because the overhead shotgun couldn't be used because of how loud the shop was.
Yeah.
And our mics at the time, I'm not going to mention the brand name, but they were 2.4 gigahertz microphones, and they kept running a freaking microwave upstairs.
Right. Okay. So it interfered with the signal.
Would interfere with the signal, and so after this location shot, our production company spent a few grand on buying really expensive Sony microphones.
Right. Okay.
So it would never happen again.
You've also changed up your cameras, right?
Oh no, yeah, I don't want to get into that, but we have done a switch over in cameras, and that cost me like $26,000.
My God. So we might see some slightly different tones and stuff.
We'll still, because like the cameras that we filmed these episodes on are very cinematic, and then the cameras that we switched over to, we're going to make the switch over to Sony's for season 2, and they'll be more. I think I referred to it as Nintendo colors.
Right, I don't know what that means.
They're so bright and so colorful.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little bit different tone, but it's not going to change too much.
So this is actually my neighbor's apartment.
So you have an office here.
Yeah, and he's built a full recording studio.
This is your office.
That's my office.
Which is so dope. It's so cool. We did a live stream of Small Talk here, actually.
Yeah.
It's really cool. You and your wife did a great job in this place.
No, it's a fun little place. It looks a bit kind of studio apartment.
Yeah, slash like modern, like startup-esque.
Yeah. So the 2 owners as well put a lot of thought into the ground floor and the tenants.
So if you see those 2 box-shaped seats behind them, they act as like sound reflectors of the whole store, and they echo everything out back at you. So that's where we picked up. They are like cones, listening cones for the whole store.
Yeah. Their actual use is for reading boxes, aren't they? Because the whole place is like a bookshop.
It's like a library bookshop, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, she's right. When you see this, like, Noren, the sign outside, you're not quite sure what's going on inside the shop.
Yeah.
Like, so I'd walk past it and I thought, this looks kind of cool, but I don't know what it is. So I didn't go in. And then when I started kind of making inroads, I'd walk in and I'm like, is it a restaurant? Is it a bookshop? What is it? You know. But once you figure out the vibe of the building, it's a cool place to go, and there's a lot of stuff in there as well. So this is another Josh running with a Ronin.
With a gimbal.
Yeah.
Walking like a ninja. This as well. And this is tricky because not only is it so twisty and turny, there's people everywhere.
Yeah.
And
so
like,
wait until there's nobody around just for that.
This is the toilet. Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah.
There's no way that I couldn't use that. There's no way.
No, I don't. I've never used that one. To be fair, the locking system's weird as well. It's like a pulley system.
A pulley system.
So you pull this thing down, this gigantic key that's stuck to the wall. You rotate it, and it locks the door on the other side of the room.
Oh god.
So bizarre.
This is actually one of the first episodes that we scored every like act of the video, and it took forever, but it made it a much better emotional journey.
That shot out of the window where you faded up from black and then went through the window, I really like that transition with the music as well. I think it worked really, really well.
It was a difficult shot because that room had several layers of flooring that Josh had to walk up with the gimbal. Because I mean, like if we did this like with Hollywood budgets and like Hollywood like pull, like, you know, if we had the authority to just like come in and actually set down railing and do like actual like key grips and everything, we could get all those shots. But they're like, you got 10 minutes, boy.
Yeah.
So like stuff like this, you just have to improvise.
I mean, even for this, I wanted to get a drone shot dropping down the building.
Yeah.
But we weren't allowed to do it.
Legally speaking, you can't.
In the city centre, you could get permission, but you know,
it takes months, and then also even then they'd probably still say no.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like, you can make anything for YouTube. It's just the time and money are your constraints.
Well, creativity as well. Right?
Yeah, that as well. So we do need to be creative on a lot of these shots.
So we started doing a lot of time lapses on a slider as well.
In that last time lapse shot, your wife's head was in it for a little bit. I had to like crop up on it.
Right,
I was like, oh no, Chisato's in the shot. I didn't notice it. It was my fault, but I was just like, oh no. But it worked. It was fine.
So for this interview, Chisato actually did all the interviewing instead of me.
Yeah.
Because I think when I do it, I think I speak Japanese pretty well. But
You speak Japanese very well.
But sometimes you kind of get stuck with a questioning, like a line of questioning, and people, I think, then think that they've got to speak more because I'm kind of stuck to help me out. So you actually get quite a lot out of it. But when you get a Japanese person doing it, you get a whole different nuance. You get often kind of deeper answers and more context to it too.
In this first season, the people doing the interviews are you, me, and then Chisato, your wife, right? And so the differences between what we pull from the interviewees is really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. This video was also pretty popular too because of the, like the creative
people liked it,
reusing an old building as well. So in Japan, a lot of these old buildings just get knocked down.
They do.
Total waste. This is the studio. So the guy here actually makes music for TV commercials and dramas and radio programs, all kinds of things.
In his cool bar house.
Yeah, this is his Kagoshima kind of place.
We had like a barbecue up here. You invited me. It was fun.
Yeah. So we can also see the fireworks from here, hopefully too.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, she's talking about rented flats here. This is true with most places. You're not allowed to touch the interior at all.
Yeah, I mean, I do in my apartment. Don't tell the landlord.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't check so much, I guess.
Well, as long as you return it back to where it was when you leave.
So in their case, you don't have to put it back.
Yeah.
So there's no requirement to do anything with it, as long as you make an improvement.
Yeah.
As much as possible.
As long as you're not destroying it, right?
So incrementally they do change. This is completely soundproof, by the way.
Which is nuts because it's such a small space.
Yeah, so he went in there and we're next door and he was like shouting at the top of his volume on the microphone. It was like nothing. Can't hear a thing with the monitors and everything. Yeah, so it's a nice space to be able to use this kind of thing as well.
One of the things that's difficult to convey here is just the history that these two have had in this little area of Kagoshima downtown area. That's actually your wife on camera right there. Yeah. Your wife actually makes it into a lot of shots.
Yeah.
She's like our go-to model for everything.
Yeah.
Because she's always there. We're like, Chisato, can you act like a customer?
Can you pretend to be working over there? Actually, in the Sengaen videos as well.
Yeah.
Promotional on the Sengaen's website. She's seen by about 3 million people.
She's always a good sport about it, so I can't complain. I'm always like, hey, can you do? Because like I can't do it. Josh can't do it.
Well, we're obviously somebody involved. Being white foreigners.
Especially me with my Super Saiyan blonde hair. They're like, no, can't do that. And the one thing that I really wanted more of was the food because they have the restaurants and everything.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we didn't get that. But there is a what's it called? Something Kazoku no Mori. What's it called?
Mori no Kazoku. Yeah.
Mori no Kazoku.
Organic food restaurant.
Okay, so on the edit, I screwed up and I thought that. He gave me all these photos, and I thought one of them was a young him.
Right.
And you're like, this is a totally different guy.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. So this is actually one of the coolest streets in Kagoshima, Meizanbori.
Yeah.
This is it now. There's all these little boutique, retrofitted restaurants and bars.
The signs are so low, aren't they? They're like head height. Signs for the shops and stuff.
The roofs too. There's places that I have to duck.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very interesting place. And he's right, it may disappear, The sweeping decision to knock it all down might turn up one day.
This used to be the red light district in Kagoshima, actually. And then it got completely forgotten about and abandoned, and then came back and the artists came in, and then they retrofitted it, and it's a really creative place now.
Well, it's kind of become, gentrified, I suppose would be the term.
Yeah.
But, in a good way, really. It's benefited the area.
Yeah, I think the first time I went there with Josh was like, this place is so interesting. This is a very neat thing. When one of those walking through the... Oh, this is my question that you asked them.
Yeah. So some people get a little bit odd about the kind of question at the end because they don't quite know how they're going to be perceived.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit nervous asking them about it, but they said it was okay in the end.
When you showed them this video, they said that... what did they say? You did a good job at encapsulating the history of this place, and thank you so much. They're very happy about it.
They loved it. Yeah, we watched it at the a party on the roof of the building.
Really?
The cinema screen they set up, so they watched it for all the residents and everything as well. So it was really good.
This was both a challenging interview in terms of content and a challenging edit because it's such a serious topic.
Yeah.
That we wanted to make sure that we paid absolute respect to the subject matter, but also keeping his message concise to a YouTube format. So it was quite a challenge.
No, it was very difficult, this one. And he wasn't used to YouTube. He didn't really know anything about it.
Yeah, well, because that's not his job. Right? He's a monk.
Yeah. So, no, but it was good to hear his backstories. I've been visiting his temple for many years. Not so much recently, but I used to practice Zazen there occasionally.
Can you go into what Zazen is?
So Zazen's like seated meditation. So you sit on top of a cushion, cross your legs, and then basically focus on usually your breathing and meditate, usually for about 30, 40 minutes or something like that. In the kind of Soto school of Buddhism is what he teaches. But I used to go there an awful lot and speak to him. And when I started going, I wasn't so good at Japanese. I'd just come to Japan.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really understand the kind of deeper talk.
How did you get involved with this? Because this is a very out-of-the-way temple. It's not...
Yeah, no, it's not advertised or anything particularly known. So I met him in town. Once. So he does takuhatsu, which we'll see a video of later on. It's in the video.
Wait, you met him while he was doing that?
So I met him while he was doing takuhatsu. I was with a friend who had come to visit Japan for my wedding, actually. And he was stood there on the corner of the road with his hat on, his monk's robes, his begging bowl, ringing his bell or whatever, collecting alms. And my friend wanted to take a picture with him, because obviously a Buddhist monk's quite an unusual thing to see for visitors to Japan. And instead of going up to him and just taking a photo like most people do, I asked him, is it okay to take a photo? And then I just learnt the kanji for suwaru, like za, for sit down or whatever. And I said, oh, does that say zazen on the thing? I didn't know the kanji for zen, I just guessed it. On his sign, and he went, oh yeah, why don't you come along and try it? So that was basically why I went over there. So I showed the pamphlet he had to my wife, and she took me there. This
was like 15 years ago you're talking about.
Oh yeah, more than that, 16, 17 years.
So this is, now I think Kagoshima people are kind of used to seeing foreign people, especially due to the, all the tourism that happened before the pandemic. But that time,
it's like you walk through Tenmonkan, the center, and it's like
people would gasp audibly at you.
Yeah. You wouldn't see any other foreign people. It's weird. I mean, you see a lot more people now, obviously. But I heard about his backstory for the first time during this. I didn't know a lot of this stuff. So for me, it was a revelation as well.
I remember because you did the translation, and then I'm doing. I think me and Josh are doing the edit of it, and I'm just like, what is he talking about? Explain. And there are areas that he, and especially before we did the edit of the full talk. There are so many places that he mentions that he went to, and all these things that he did that we just don't have any visuals for. So I was just like, okay, well, we'll try to make it as, because we do have his interview, obviously, but if you don't have B-roll, it's just hard to feature it,
Yeah, no, I know it's hard without images when you're doing video.
Yeah, because people do want to see what you're talking about.
So, again, this is kind of the content where it is tough to edit because there's so much stuff in there, and there's quite a lot of rich content. There are kind of like areas that you can go deep on.
I've actually seen him doing this before.
Yeah, there's a feature of Tenmonkan. He's always in Tenmonkan doing it.
That is somebody's wife as well.
Yes.
That's another person's wife pretending to give us a shot. Because, we can't just randomly shoot people on the street,
So, we borrowed the cameraman's wife to assist us. So,
this is actually not planned. This is completely natural.
Yeah. So he's doing a quick blessing to these people. Yeah.
One good thing about everybody wearing masks all the time is that it actually does make it a little bit easier to film people on the street.
Yeah, genuinely you're trying to get the back of their head right.
Yeah,
or something like that, not face on.
Yeah, the law in Japan is if the camera is visible in a public space, it's not considered tosatsu, which is what you like hidden
filming.
Yeah, whatever. But the reality is if they would take you to court, they will win.
Yeah.
So you want to not take off the people. It's really easy for like a Netflix or an Amazon documentary to come here, do whatever they want, and leave.
Yeah.
Because then they don't have to deal with the repercussions of their actions.
Yeah.
We live here.
Yeah, that's the problem, you see.
This is our community.
I know a certain YouTuber who said that he worked for the BBC to get access to many places. And they went, oh yeah, sure, if you're the BBC, do what you like. But obviously we can't do that here.
Yeah.
They all know us already.
Yeah, they're like, hi Alex, hi Mitch, what do you want?
So we have to be kind of careful with the content. And also the comments and stuff as well, because obviously these people watch the videos as well. And they're interested to find out what foreign people think about it too. This is so surprising to me that someone ran up and attacked him while he was doing it.
And that photo that we just showed of the movie that he's talking about is actually it's in public domain.
Right, because it's so old.
Yeah, it's in the public domain. So I was just like, oh, that's nice.
托発の格好の坊さんが人の上にのしかかっているっていうね。
Yeah, no, that's not something you see very often in Japan. Firstly, you don't see many monks doing takuatsu for a start.
It used to be a big thing, but they don't do it anymore.
Not so many. I mean, in Kyoto, you might see them outside the station and stuff like that, but it's still quite unusual. And a lot of the monks don't really do it much either, which shows you kind of how serious he is about this. You know, he's not just inherited a temple or something like that. He's actually really seriously practicing Buddhism as well. Which is, you know, the real deal, you know what I mean? It's not like...
And there, one thing I want to mention, there are various sects of Mormonism in Japan, and, you know, there are, let's just say I know some monks that aren't extremely serious people.
You just said Mormonism.
Did I say Mormonism?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean Buddhism.
Right.
Sorry. I just watched a Netflix documentary about Mormonism, is why I think it's in my brain. But anyway, Buddhism, there are various sects of it, and so I do know some monks that are not exactly the most serious people.
Oh, I know, yeah.
This gentleman, he is the real deal.
Yeah, so he often talks about his time at Eiheiji, which is the head temple of Soto Buddhism in Japan. And they do some really hardcore training there for years on end to get to this kind of level or whatever, before going back to the regions and starting their own temples up too.
And I kind of want to point out now that you are actually Buddhist, aren't you?
You like to classify people into...
Oh, wait. This shot here is a modern shot that I made look old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where did you get it from?
It's stock footage that I got, and I made it look really old.
No, it looks good.
Yeah, and then this is like public domain stuff.
It looks like it's from a textbook or something.
Yeah, it's artwork from like American West or something. Public domain. I was just like, good, because like, where would you get footage of this?
Yeah.
As we're in lockdown Japan during the pandemic, like what, you know, it's impossible.
It's not like we can dress up like that.
No, not at all. No. Speaking of cultural respect.
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, no. This is also stock footage that, you know.
Is that the Alamo? It looks like.
No, this is Pueblo Indian stuff. This is also. I'm glad that we got this, because how would we feature any of this stuff?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So actually, the day that this was filmed, we were in a massive rush. It was very, very hard to get the camera, everything lined up.
It's also freezing cold. I remember that. It's being a very cold day.
So he actually did a demonstration with a bunch of people against the war in Ukraine.
Yeah. Well, he wants peace.
Yeah. You know. Yeah. So that was after we finished filming this. So unfortunately, we didn't manage to get it on camera. But that was in the newspaper, on local TV and everything like that as well.
This was one of those, you know, risky uploads. You know, it's like, well, it's so serious, and it does take a little bit of a stance on issues.
Yeah.
Like, how will people react? But the reaction was very positive, and a lot of people were very, very, you know, because the war in Ukraine had just began as well.
Yeah.
So it was good timing, and it was just, I think it resonated with people very well.
Thinking about what's correct, you know, what true justice is. And that scene of him just there with the shosaku, the stick they used to whack you with when you do zazen.
Yeah.
If you're falling asleep, you can ask them to do it. If you put your hands together, they'll knock you on the shoulder to wake you up or whatever. I've never actually seen him walking around with it, because I've always been sat on the floor.
Oh, you're getting
meditating
hit instead of watching.
Yeah, he's never hit me with it so far.
Oh, Alex was just in the background of one of the shots.
Oh,
yeah, he was, and I couldn't cut him out of it. It was just like, whatever.
Was I hiding?
You were looking at your phone, I think, or
I
something.
was looking at my phone, oh dear. Because I saw Josh was running off ahead with the camera. I might be in the background here as well.
No, I think that was the only one over there.
I may be hiding behind the Virgin Mary.
It is really hard to get these shots, you know, and hide the crew while you're doing it, because you don't want to see the crew, right?
So if we would have had more time to work on this, we could have also shot inside the church as well. But that requires getting permission from another group. You know,
season 1 was very rushed.
Yeah,
season 1 was very rushed. We did, I think, with what we had, the time, the resources that we had, I think that we did as best job as we could.
So, I mean, really, we do this with 3-4 people on a really tight schedule, really tight budget as well. Actually,
the first season, especially because it was a proof of concept.
Yeah,
we wanted to prove to the prefecture that there was merit in this, that there was value in this.
Yeah,
and luckily the prefecture looked at it and they said, okay, season 2.
Yeah, and that's thanks to everybody who followed us, liked us, subscribed,
and shared us and told their friends about us. Yeah. We had some help. We had YouTubers helping us. We had Tokyo Lens, Norm helping us. We had Broad in Japan, Chris helping us.
Yeah.
We had the Shogunate. Is the channel?
Yeah, Shogunate channel.
Yeah. A lot of people helping us.
だけどそういう一番だというねその壁を乗り越えて地球の問題とかね
Just thinking about what to include as B-roll for the things because he's talking about things that are like way over my head in some of these because I'm not a practicing Buddhist and I'm just thinking like wow what do I put here how do I show what he's trying to say and also make sure that it's respectful.
Well, the bigger the concept, the harder it is to put into an image.
Yeah, if it's skei, a couple guys like at a shochu bar with Kiriko, that's no problem.
Right.
When he's talking about global issues, I'm like, This is unheard of. Like, this just doesn't exist. The mixing of religions like this.
Yeah, especially, well, I mean, there are interfaith groups and things like that, but it's very unusual. And certainly in Kagoshima, it's incredibly rare to do.
Isn't Kagoshima where both Buddhism and Christianity landed? It is, isn't it?
I'm not sure about Buddhism, but Christianity certainly.
Yeah, landed with Xavier here.
Yeah, it wasn't very popular at first.
Yeah, I mean,
came back afterwards.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure that Buddhism also landed here.
I'm not entirely sure it came into Kagoshima, but it definitely came probably through Kyushu from Korea originally. Many years before Francis Xavier. So this is actually Nishihon Ganji, which is a different sect of Buddhism temple. But, regardless of that, usually actually there's a group of people that go around with him as well. Obviously, to shoot this video, we had to do it on a day, that we could shoot on.
So you just asked him to do it, and
he agreed to do it.
Yeah. So, but he usually has a crowd with him.
Yeah.
Also, filming here was interesting too because all the icons in the background, which I'm completely unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this stuff?
Right. Yeah. Oh, this is when we asked him about shaving his head, right?
Yeah, I just asked him if it was cold.
Yeah.
And then he gave us this story, and I was just like, I have to include this after the blooper.
But it's to cut off, the attachment to yourself, attachment to your image.
Yeah. So like, I just wanted kind of like a fun little answer, but he gave us this like very deep thing that made me think about it. But yeah, we really want to show them smiling at least once in a kind of off the cuff manner. You know?
I mean, a lot of the people in the videos are much more friendly than they might appear in the video to start with. I think a lot of it's nerves, right?
Yeah. Okay, so this is by far our hardest to get. This is an absolutely real place, not photoshopped. This is absolutely not a green screen. So I actually had to twist your arm to do this a little bit.
This was your idea.
I was like, we got to do an April Fool's episode. And you're like, no. I was like, come on. He's like, no. I was like, I'll do it for free. And we did it for free.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And this is actually one of our good friends, Hayato. And if you made it to the end of this video, I promise you that every year that we do this channel, that we will have Ian coming back.
One secret.
Every year for April Fool's episode, just because like he did all of this ad lib. We had no script.
Right.
Nothing. And he's literally I might clip it into the video, but he's literally just looking at a green wall here.
Right. Where is this shot anyway?
Right here in the studio.
Oh, here.
Just looking at there's a light in front of him and a green wall behind him.
So what was the no full bananas about?
So he just said he has no time to take a break. So I asked him like, what do you eat? And he gave us a list of things that he eats, including half a banana because he doesn't have time to get a full banana in his break.
Right, I see.
And then so we just like made it a thing.
Right.
If we ever make merch for the channel,
no
full bananas. He ad-libbed this whole thing, and like me and Josh are trying not to laugh while he's talking and get him out of character. And he bowed to the wall as well.
Right.
And I was like, why don't you face the I came up with the idea of his job, and he came up with the rest of it.
Right.
And I was like, why don't you face the camera? He's like, no, I want to be looking out at the ocean the whole time.
My Hayato is a character, though, isn't he?
He's so funny. He's actually bilingual, perfectly bilingual in both languages, and he's funny in both languages.
Yeah.
So I went to go set up this camera at Iso Hama, at Iso Beach, and like I'm just filming, and all these like locals are looking at me like, what are you doing? And I'm like, they have no idea.
Is this looped, the footage?
It's a good 15 minutes of straight footage. And so people are literally looking at me like, what is this guy doing? I'm like, you have no idea what I'm doing with this footage. Like, you have no idea where this is going. And the addition of the fax, that was totally my idea.
Is that an actual fax machine?
It's not in that. This is just like stock footage. That's an actual fax machine that I got from a stock footage site.
Right.
This is all just stock footage, like paired up with him in studio.
Right.
And then Sakurajima that I shot on like a Wednesday or something.
So it's 3 images spliced together.
Yeah, it's all just like composited. And it looks like it's real just because we have a light shining in his face in the studio.
Right, I see.
And this is like our studio. Like Josh just went to go buy this stuff and just like shot it.
Half a banana.
So I wanted to also include some facts about Kagoshima and like local stuff. And Lake Ikeda's Ishi is a local myth. And we went and shot this.
And then was this inspired by the fact that Godzilla destroys Tenmonkan in one of the movies?
That was it. There was in one of the movies, I think it's Godzilla versus Mega Godzilla. They're like Godzilla destroys Tenmonkan,
right.
And it's seen right here in Kinko Bay with Sakurajima in the background.
Right. Okay.
So that inspired me, and I love kaiju, so I was just like, let's do it.
Maybe next time we can do it.
He kept doing this the entire time he was doing the interview. He just kept standing up and looking at his binoculars that I got a Merukari for 500 yen. That don't work.
Where did you get all this stuff?
This is just stock stuff that I found on that we pay for our service.
I think next time maybe you should do a James Bond themed one.
Yeah, because James Bond did come here. We could do that with the hidden base in the volcano crater. Yeah.
So Murakami's changed jobs.
Yeah, every year he's going to do a different job, right? And it's all going to be ridiculous. And I asked him, I was like, do you want us to like, show your face? And then at the end scene, he finally looks at the camera. But I remember editing this and just laughing the whole time. Also, there was a debate on do we upload it in Japan April 1st or like North America April 1st?
Right. What did you do in the
I think we just like split the difference.
Right.
And he bows.
Well, thank God he's there looking over the sea to protect
He bows
us
to
all.
the wall. He's so silly.
怪獣って信じてない人もいるんですけれど、その人たちに何言いたいんですか？
本当にいるんですよ。
His hat says Kagoshima as well.
Where did you get those animations?
That just came from a stock site.
ご飯はカップ麺と
He just talked for an hour.
チリ
We
メンジャ
just
コ
spliced it together.
ハン
So that's the end of season 1. I hope that if you guys got this far, that you watch season 2, that we've got a couple episodes up.
Yeah.
Got Washi up, and we've got Shochu.
Shochu, yeah. And what's coming up next?
I don't want to talk about next episodes, but we've got a lot filmed and edited, and we're just gonna we've got an actual release schedule this time. And another thing that we're gonna do in season 2 is we're gonna be threading in shorts.
Oh, that's right.
We've got one short. We did it as an experiment to see if people would like it.
Yeah.
And it was so beloved. I think the Reddit upload got something like 100,000 views.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do shorts, because we focus on interesting people, but we also want to do everyday people.
Yeah.
And so we're just going to walk up to them just like, hi, let me ask you an interesting question.
We did sushi as well.
Oh, we did do sushi. I forgot about that. Yeah, we did Kimiya.
Yeah.
Which we won't talk about behind the scenes. We'll do another behind the scenes like director's commentary like when we do season 2. But one little nugget of information is all the food that you see was actually Alex's food.
Yeah, I
We
know.
totally like barged in on his lunch.
Yeah, I paid for that. It was nice, though. I got to eat it all, too. And Josh got a snack, too, halfway
Oh,
through.
did you? I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Little
Just
one.
a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the videos are also going up on Facebook Watch as well this year.
Yep.
As a series. So season 1 will go out this year, and then season 2 will go out next year. And then we have some additional kind of shorts that go up on there occasionally, too.
So yeah, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel already, please subscribe. When we upload new videos, if you like and comment, that really helps us out on the algorithm, because honestly, that's what it does.
Yeah.
And so more people get to see the videos, and then it helps us continue to fund this, because it is government funded. So we do need to show that people are enjoying it, and and suggestions and comments also helps us learn how to do it better.
Yeah. So like, subscribe, comment, and we'll make more videos for you.
Yeah. And thanks for sitting 2 hours with us as we went through this journey together.
All right. Well, see you soon on People of Kagoshima.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.